I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just get a little fucking mad.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lobito!
Got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right, this is King Butcher. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. Hopefully my sound is okay. If it's not okay, guys, let me know in the chat. I think I boosted it up pretty good. So, yep, post-fight show. Again, there was a show yesterday. We haven't uploaded it on Spotify and iTunes, etc. We'll do that after this show, because I have to download the show and I'll also upload this show as well. So, sorry about that. We'll upload it today, and we're gonna take more phone calls, and we're gonna get points of view, hopefully from Jimmy. Recognize Gonzalo's gonna come back again, and Chief also, I think he wants to jump in. So we're gonna discuss what happened yesterday and what's gonna happen in the future with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. And shout out to everybody in the chat: the Quacks, Team Batman Boxing, Mario Gomez, the Paracua, Telekinesis, Romero R. Who else do we have here? We have a bunch of people already. Great. Let's get this party started. I'm going to start by calling a few people here. Maybe BDA wants to jump as well. I don't know. And we'll get this party started. Call Mr. BDA. Calling Chief. Gonzalo. Guys in the chat. Oh, we're also going to look at the predictions. See who got the predictions right, got the predictions wrong. One last people I need to just call Jimmy and recognize. All right. Let's read some comments from the chat. No, first of all, I want to just say no excuses here. Absolutely no excuses. I'm not the LDBC. I'm not going to come out with some crazy conspiracy theory. It was a great body shot, and that's what ended the fight. Now, whether or not some people are saying that Tank Davis was completely dominating Ryan Garcia. I think he was winning the fight. I wouldn't call it a domination or a beatdown. If you want to see a beatdown, go rewatch Wilder versus Tyson Fury. That's a beatdown, clear beatdown. That's a domination. All right, we have Jimmy. Jimmy, are you there? Chief, Gonzalo.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show. All right. I think people are anxious to hear your take on this. So, Jimmy, take it away.
All right. Listen, I had some time to sleep on. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I bought it. Two things. First off, remember, it was first advertised that you couldn't buy it, and DAZN was outside of the United States, right? So I paid $84. And I didn't even get it for the 60, right? So that's even the point, right? Who gives a shit? I don't have to deal with going onto the app, and it's just not as good as a picture, that DAZN app. That's a whole nother beef. But anyways, here's the thing. When we're talking about this fight going into it, we know what Garcia's strengths were. He did have the strengths, the length, everything, if he knew how to use it to fuck up and baffle Davis, because we saw that before he got caught. Like, Davis didn't react well. He doesn't like going back. He's a complete counterpuncher. We saw that with that. That's now 100%. He's just a counterpuncher. And when you got a guy like Garcia, man, I got so much shit about that fight, who's not even doing anything and just letting this kid get his time, and he was punking him. What we saw was this. We saw a kid. First off, let me start with Davis. It was just a continuation of all we've ever gotten from this kid. The biggest reward for the least fucking amount of, coming back at him. You know what I mean? And that was all that was. So, like, the whole added thing of weight draining the kid and weight stipulations, all this other shit. It's like you're doing that for a fucking kid who is a prospect, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you know what I mean? Campbell, yeah, but fucking please. So it's just the more of the same for him. He has no intentions of fighting fucking Shakur Haney, or even Keyshawn Davis would beat his fucking roof in. That kid came in. Did you see his midsection, too? That's another whole thing. He was chubby. He wasn't even tight in the midsection. But what happened? Garcia got caught in the second round. Boom, he was gun shy after that. Completely fucking lost all. And he was hurt a lot. He says after the fight he wasn't hurt as much as he was in Campbell. Bullshit. He was hurt worse because when he got up, he was still goofy-eyed and shit. So he was hurt. He did what we knew he would do. He fucking overcompensated on his punch, left it out there, twisted himself over on a counterpunch with 30 pro fights. You know what I mean? Caught a fucking huge punch, was put on his ass. But here's the thing, too. So after that, Garcia was fucking just junk because he really felt that punch. So the problem is, when the first time in your professional career you really fucking find out, that's what you get. We should have found this out on a fucking Friday night or a Saturday. We should have found this out, on HBO or Showtime, not on a pay-per-view. I am so sick of this fucking sport sucking me in, me, because I love this sport. My family's given 100 years to it. So I went into my pocket, paid for this shit, plus I'm on a show, so I'm going to fucking watch it. That was a fucking insult. It was a fucking joke, and it played out like the joke it is. An inexperienced kid with a handful of fights who was promoted and should have told you all, when Steven Espinoza says, well, we're not going to do it the regular way. We're going to advertise it social media because, and then he goes on to how much influence that Garcia has in that. Yeah, that's it. Can't talk about his accomplishments or his achievements to call it a fucking $85 pay-per-view, and I paid for it. So I'm really pissed. Like, I'm real pissed about the sport. I'm just the whole fucking thing. But yeah, no, it played out like I thought. I didn't want it to play that out. I wanted them to fucking stop Davis. I also want to say real quick, when I saw that kid turn his back, how many times when Davis would jump over the double, if Davis wasn't short, he would have fucking drilled him sooner. But because being short, when he turned his back, it was hard for him to jump around with a hook and break his face. But he didn't even know what to do when Davis came at him. He's like, covering up and turning his back. Davis did the same thing. Anytime he felt any big shots or was uncomfortable, his first reaction was to dive at the dude's waist.
Yeah,
you think
what the fuck was
Lomachenko would let him land on that like that? Oh, yeah, no, I'm going on, dude. Fucking jump on Bucho. What do you got?
No, you're right. The lunging in, trying to grab Garcia as well. Both guys didn't look good, in my opinion.
Shit fight.
Shit fight.
How much did you shit?
Let's get
I
you
didn't
before
watch the whole card.
You didn't watch the whole card. That's fine. But go ahead, Chief. Tell us what you thought about the fight.
Okay, so for those that want to, I know that Rare Breed and MMA Champ are going to love to hear me eat my words that I picked Ryan. I was under a false perception that he would have a mentality and a knowledge to know how to let his hands go and stay busy and just touch his opponent until the openings would come. You had two people trying to play counterpuncher with only one being a proficient counterpuncher, which was Tank. Ryan did not do anything that I thought he had any. I'm actually also slightly disappointed if Joe Goosen okayed the way this went at all, that he was okay with this. I was disappointed that this was somewhat of their game plan, that you never heard him saying in the corner, look, this guy's shorter than you. Keep that jab out there, move to your left. When he's measuring with his right, launch your own right like it's a jab, like what Manny Pacquiao did to Miguel Cotto. Every time Miguel Cotto would try and stick the jab out, Manny knew that his right would parry it, but instead of trying to block it, he just launched his power left in as a counter jab. And now the reason why I'm bringing that up is because that's mirror image styles, just like it was last night. So every time Tank was leaving that right out there, why didn't Joe Goosen say, just launch the right, just launch your straight right hand?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to step in with it, just launch it. Just keep touching him with it, because he's got his hands down. He's measuring, which is not legal. But since the referee's not doing anything about it, open glove is called lacing, closed glove is called measuring. They're both not legal. I don't consider it quote unquote dirty or foul, but you should know how to protect yourself against it. And if you don't, because he's inexperienced, and Joe Goosen damn sure should. And the fact he never told the kid, launch the right hand every time he measures. Every time he just sticks that right out and measures, just launch your right hand. Because Davis is doing it mostly with his back close to the ropes. It would have backed him up. There was no knowledge from that corner at all. And I mean, no disrespect to Joe Goosen. He may have actually worked with this stuff, and Ryan may not have carried it out. But all these things that I saw, or I thought I saw improvements, and Ryan went out the window. Whether it was the moment, whether they were false, I can't tell you. But I didn't do this first, and I meant to. First of all, congratulations to Gervonta Davis for pulling off the victory. He did what he was supposed to do. It was like Jimmy said, he did the bare minimum, but that's what he always does. He's not active. He looks to counter with big power shots. If you ever played the game Tekken in back when it was originally a video game, he's like Paul, the blonde guy. He only counters with like 2 or 3 big shots at a time. He doesn't put combinations together. But when he throws them, he means them, and they're intentional and they're deliberate, and they mean to have power. He did exactly what he wanted to do. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He did exactly what we thought he would do, and still worked for him. So I can't take anything away from him for what he did.
Would you say
was Ryan ready? Well, let me wrap up. Was Ryan ready? I don't know. He thought he was, and he turned out he was wrong.
Would you say that Ryan Garcia made it easier for Tank Davis?
Absolutely. This is more about, in certain fighters, certain big fight situations, it's more about what the other fighter didn't do than what the winner did do. Tank didn't do anything different. I'm not taking away from him. Okay, if it sounds like I am, he brought nothing new to the table. That doesn't mean he wasn't effective. Doesn't mean he didn't. It was I mean, we saw the result. He won. He won by knockout. He got a knockdown. He got a knockout. But everything he did before was anything he's done prior to. There was nothing new. So if it was there to study and you didn't add anything new to your game to try and neutralize what he always does, then you didn't prepare right. Or like Jimmy said, maybe he was just rocked to his core from that counter left hand when he overextended, and everything went out the window. I can't comment on what, I'm not inside Ryan's head, and I was not in their training camp to know what happened for what they really prepared for. But Ryan, the way you're going to beat Tank, if you're somebody like Ryan, especially if you're inexperienced, is with activity first. You make him get behind to where he's going to have to start reaching. Every time, like I said, he fought out of the crouch. He measured with the right hand. Those weren't jabs. Those were measures. There was nothing to worry about coming back because he was waiting for you to go first. So what you do, instead of trying to play patty cake with him and use your jab against his, throw your counter right, because that's as if you would be throwing a counter jab from the same stance. And he didn't do any of that.
He did throw the straight right sometimes, right? And he worked, but he didn't do it.
Sometimes, right? But
yeah, but he didn't do it like you're saying.
Davis would square up, like I would say, he squared up last night. His feet were off balance a lot last night, and Ryan didn't take advantage of any of that because I guess he just doesn't know how to. And some of the people that said that he's just too experienced for this fight, they may have been exactly right. I thought Ryan was going to be able to let his hands go more. To be able to make this, and I'm like Jimmy, I'm ranting on, so I'm gonna wrap up. But I thought he was gonna be able to let his hands go and fight with a smarter game plan, and I was completely wrong.
Jimmy, you want to jump in, or Gonzalo?
Well, I just want to add one thing. I real quick, Gonzalo. I agree with everything you said, but you don't have to be in that kid's head to know he that shot did him in. He was gun shy after that. Everything changed. See how aggressive he came out? Measured him the first round, second round, came out super aggressive, but his inexperience caught him and got him in trouble. He hung out over his foot. The worst thing to do, Gonzalo talked about that. He said the worst thing that could happen to him is him overextend with one of his hooks and leave his fucking chin out. And he's going to put him out. Gonzalo talked about that in depth, and that's what happened. But after that point, everything changed. Now he stopped throwing punches. He wasn't even really trying to use a jab. He saw how jumpy he was. He was jumping at feints, things that he wasn't doing in the first 2 rounds. So absolutely, he was shook. And he's just not a fucking fighter. This shit should have been, again, the reason why I'm angry, this shit should have been found out a long time ago. But we got suckered in by a fucking weasel like Espinoza who sold it. And you know what? He said it was. Well, you know, he's got 7 million followers. Okay, yeah, that should be on a pay-per-view. But anyways, go Gonzalo.
Yeah, I'll give credit to the people that said, including Rare Breed. Some of the guys were saying that Ryan Garcia doesn't have an inside game. Well, he knocked out Fortuna and Campbell with isolated shots to the body, but really he doesn't have a inside game. We just gotta call a spade a spade. Okay, although he got 2 knockdowns to the body in his two out of his last 3 recent fights. I mean, you kill by a sword, you die by a sword, right? Same thing happened to me. There's such a thing as being aggressive from the outside, but he didn't do that. He didn't utilize his length, man. He should have. That's what Manny Pacquiao told him prior to the fight. Now, is Tank Davis a complete fighter? It kind of baffles me that Leo Santa Cruz threw the right hand 3 times. Freaking Orlando Romero walked in and got caught. And now Ryan Garcia, he said it himself. He was impatient. He was right there to be hit. And like Jimmy was saying, turning his back. The only one that really did his homework was Pitbull Cruz, man. That's the only dude. And going back to the whole thing is Tank Davis a complete fighter? Well, there you go. When the shorter dude did his homework, he was having a hard time in there. So yes, give credit to Tank. But look, am I wrong by saying that the 3 people that I just mentioned made it real easy for Tank to get him? That fucking baffles me, dude. There's such a thing as being aggressive from the outside. And this kid didn't do it, and nobody told him anything.
We're gonna get to that, Gonzalo. Great point. Just super chat from Frankie. Thank you for your super chat. He says, "Cheers to BDA Boxing, a great YouTube podcast that never gives up. Unlike a knee bender, YouTube phony like Ryan Garcia." All right, taking shots at Ryan Garcia. Appreciate that, Frankie. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't know I was laughing at what he said. No, because he's so right. He went to get up on the 9th, but then you see how he was trying to do it? He was trying to time it just like, I just almost missed it. He could have got up. Abso-fucking-lutely. There's no doubt about he could have got up. He wasn't even fucking wincing by the fucking 7, and he looked up at the rep and he was counting it, and you could see him like counting the count. And he tried to stand up. He could have because he stood right up at 10. So he was trying to stand up, but just before 10 counts, so they waved it off. He quit. Fucking absolutely quit. He wanted no more to do with that shit. And the shit he talked after, saying, I was hurt more by Campbell, like throwing shade at him. Dude, but the difference is this dude stopped you. You know what I mean? So don't say stupid shit. And go on with your life. The kid's not a professional he's a professional fighter, don't get me wrong, you know. Hats off to him, went in the ring. He's never going to be a world champion, ever.
He has
ever. Zero inside game to Gonzalo's
he
point.
Has,
Zero.
Physical speed, power. But the thing is, after all these fights, I haven't seen any improvement. And so if you want to become a world champion, you got to start improving at some point. He just not improving. So he will not become a world champion, in my opinion. Let's talk about Joe Goosen. Guys, should we criticize Joe Goosen?
I don't see why. I mean, what could he do? The kid fucking didn't want to. He got the fight beat out of him in the 2nd round. What was he going to do? You know what I mean? He kept saying, "Let's bring up your activity. But he didn't want to let his hands go because he was afraid to get hit again.
Yeah.
And that body shot was a good out.
Jimmy, throughout the whole training camp, he kept mentioning Ryan's real talented. I'm just a guy here from the outside looking in, and I don't really get involved, but when I do have to say something, I will. That seemed a little too passive for me, and I know he's a legendary trainer. But right now, I think it's what have you done for me lately, man? There's this new blood.
Yeah.
And he's been around for way too long, and sometimes that could happen. You have your highs and lows. Or am I wrong for saying that?
No, I first of all, I give a lot of respect to Joe Goosen as what he's accomplished in the sport and what his mind is. When it comes time to talking at ringside, it seems like he's educating the other people when he's commentating on what's going on. He knows boxing. He knows how to get somebody ready. But a long time ago, when he would pick certain people up, like when he picked up Chavez Jr., I talked to my friend who's in the hospital today, Clay, I hope you get better, said, Joe's just a gun for hire nowadays. And what do you mean? Like, he'll train you, he'll take the payday, but he doesn't really put a lot into the training with people anymore. I was under the impression, from what I saw with Ryan using his distance and going 12 rounds to, and then to knocking out Fortuna, that Joe was all in and Ryan was listening. Now, whether that was really true or not, and whether I was led to believe something that wasn't really there, I don't know. But what looked like last night, Joe would have gotten in Diego Corrales' butt and said, you better let your hands go and get busy. This guy's going to beat you, especially by the 7th round. The fight's, you're in the second half of the fight. You should have at least had a stronghold in the first round. Not the first round, the first half. You should have had at least a round or two in the bank. And he might have had 2 iffy rounds just because Tank wasn't busy enough, but nothing because Ryan went out and won it. It was because, if it was just because Tank didn't do as much. And so at no point in time when he was like, what did we work on in the gym? Why aren't you doing this? There was a little bit, the old Joe Goosen used to have a little bit of Teddy Atlas in him, and like, why aren't you doing what we did in the gym? Why are you taking so long to do this? Why aren't you implementing anything? And then he'd even quiz you. What do you see out there? What, because this is what I'm seeing, and there'd be a conversation. And it looked like they had a rapport, but last night it looked all that went out the window. It looked like, and again, is Joe really in for the long haul for anyone anymore? This is no disrespect to him as a trainer. He's a great trainer, but when your trainer's all in with you, that's when they're going to make a difference. If it's just like, I'm just kind of hearing Ryan's the machine and you're admitting you're taking a backseat to the whole thing. You're the one in charge. You're the chief second. You're the one calling the shots to get the person ready. The fighter may know how to get themselves in shape, but you're the second set of eyes to show them something they can't see of what's going on, especially if you properly prepare for it in the gym. So yes, a little bit of it does belong on Joe.
You know something that I missed? I didn't anticipate that as a fan. The lead left hook was like flying way high, and that dude was dipping way low.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he could have brought that down, Jimmy.
Remember I said that? Remember I said that, dude? I said, what is Gonzalez? Watch what I said. This is what he's got to do. That was part of the thing I said they should be working on. That's Davis's thing. Because he's a shorter dude, that's always what he does. He dips down. He always dips down like that. And what he hopes to do is get you to overextend when he dips. And then when he's underneath you, he comes up, poof, and he did exactly what he did. I'm a shorter dude, too. So I always box guys taller than me. I did the same thing. That's how I would do it. You dip, and then you come up with the hook after they overshoot your head. And to be honest with you, I think Goosen saw what I did. I said the fight was over in the second round. After the way he acted, after the third round, I believe was when I tweeted out, yep, this fight's done. It's just a matter of time. I think Goosen saw the same thing I did. The fight was over. I'm telling you, you saw it in his face. You saw it in his movements. The third round, he was done. He didn't want to fight anymore. And you could see it in his jumpiness. There was no, did you see how aggressive he was in the second round? Yes, he got
exactly.
overexcited, but totally different fighter than the third round. And Goosen has been around long enough to see that. And he's like, this fight's done. No matter what I say, this kid, his heart's not in it now. And once you beat somebody's heart out of him, once you own them, it's over. And Davis knew it, so I started talking to him. And the ref told him, stop talking, stop taunting him. He kept saying it's just a matter of time, dude. He was going to fucking knock him out, and he knew it because the fight was done. But anyways, Bucho, what was that?
No, just laughing because you were right. I mean, that second round, Ryan came out like a maniac. You know, he threw a right hand, and then, anyways, he got caught, and after that, he seemed like a completely different boxer. By the way, I just want to read 2 super chats. The Theological Handyman says, I was one of the people that thought Ryan could win until he came out in the second round chasing him around. Yeah, that was he went a little bit wild there. You can't do that shit against Tank Davis. Another super chat, Frankie again. Thank you for your contribution. He says, it's not Joe Goosen's fault. Ryan never had it. Ryan doesn't have the mental strength. He got scared. That's it. All right. Another last super chat here. This is Frankie. You agree with Frankie?
Yeah, he's got a very good point. But let's get to the last super chat, and then I'll go back.
All right, then I'll let you go. Bushido Key, thank you for your contribution. He says, Ryan made a mistake leaving Canelo's camp. They were working on head movement, keeping his hands up, and working on footwork. Ryan showed nothing new after going to his new trainer. So he's going after Joe Goosen. Go ahead, Chief.
Okay, so both of the last two super chats had a very good point. If they really were trying to work on things, let's face it, I'm no Canelo fan. I'm really not. But he's added so much to his game over the years of head movement, footwork, and stuff like that. I don't think he's overrated. I don't think he's underrated. I think he's where he's supposed to be. But the typical Mexican of just trying to come forward and use the left hook a la Chavez didn't work for him for a while. So he added many more facets to his game, and that's why he went on that long streak all the way up until he ran into Bivol. If they were working on that same stuff with Ryan, who had the height and the reach, and he would have believed it and committed to it, we might be talking a different story. But Joe Goosen wasn't working on that. I don't know what he was working on. I was under the impression for Ryan to let his hands be a little more busy, even though Ryan likes to counter with big punches. But Jimmy, you said something about we should have known this about him already. If he would have taken that Linares fight 2 years ago, we would have already known a little bit more.
Absolutely.
He would have taken the Linares fight and a few other fights, even a Jojo Diaz fight. And I think he would have beaten all of those guys. I think he would have. He may have been challenged in doing it, but we would have known by then, kind of like Victor Ortiz, does he really have the heart to be, a world champion? And we would have known that by now.
Yep. And Haney too, yeah. No, absolutely. And I think they're both right into a certain extent. But the thing with Ronaldo camp, they had issues with him. There was personality clashes going on. And Garcia was in shape. Like, he came in shape, you know what I mean? And he looked like he was in tighter physical shape. The thing is, right, when you're a trainer, I say it all the time, you hide the bad things. You try to take what you get. Like, people are going to do what they do. That's his stance. He's been fighting that way since the amateurs. You're not going to turn that kid into on his toes, leaning forward, snapping his jab. That K stance is, I personally, I hate it. Because what happens, you're caught. When you lean back in a K, like they call it the K, when you're like your back leg stiff straight and you're kind of hopping in with the left, flat-footed like that. But then all of a sudden you get turned even a little. You see him, he was like covering his back. Trying, like, it's only because Davis was too short. He tried a few times, man. Like, he would grab him and try to spin around. He was going to drill him, but he couldn't get to him in time because of his height. If he was the same height, yeah, no, listen, it was just a matter of time he got found out. It just sucks he got found out on a fucking pay-per-view. And I think Goosen, honestly, because I'm telling you right now, I try to put myself in the trainers, like, what could you have done from the second round on? First off, he overshot, like, he got over-anxious, like, oh, I got him. Because Davis didn't react well to those punches. He did catch him on the right. Davis felt that. No doubt about it, Garcia can crack because Davis's face got all puffed up, and he didn't react well to it. He spun around. But what happened, Dave, an inexperienced fighter smells blood in the water. You jump right on it like you fucking want to get him. A seasoned fighter is going to step back and see really how hurt you got him and not going to over commit. But anyways, Gonzalo?
No, man, just like Ryan wanted to make quick work of him. That's what it was his intention. His intention was to catch him, and he thought it was going to be that easy. I just saw that left hook flying a little too high, man, because the dude's short, and it's kind of hard to bring it down, I suppose. Yeah, man, he disappointed me, man. But I don't feel too bad, man. I had built the Cobra bag, started getting in shape, and for that reason, he contributed for me losing fucking 40 pounds. So
that's a lot, man.
Yeah, but you predicted but you broke it down. You said that's how it would happen. He'll overcommit. I'm worried about him overshooting his hook like he does, and getting caught with the counter. And it was a nasty counter, man. He fucking crushed him. Good, props to him. Listen, he's doesn't have a weak chin. I'll tell you right now, anybody would have went down with that shot. In that position, you don't see it coming. That was a big, big punch he got caught with, and he got up to his credit. You know what I mean? But that stomach punch was just an out.
Jimmy,
he could have got up. He just didn't want it anymore.
That's one thing about those liver punches is some of them don't always look as big as they really are. Like the one that Hopkins hit De La Hoya with didn't look like a huge punch, but the liver's there, it doesn't have to always look like a huge shot. Ever since people found out that fighters were first taking dives and that liver punch comes in, it doesn't look like a huge problem. or a huge shot. Someone goes, "Oh, he took a dive." That's a bodily organ that's there, and it's a not a massive one, but it's an important one, and there's nothing protecting it. There's no real muscle or bone to protect it. So when you hit it and it shocks it, it rattles you. And so, could he have gotten up? The answer is yes. Could he have stayed up? He probably could have gone down again even without Tank really hitting him.
Yeah,
and it hit him. You go ahead.
He hit him right on the liver. He hit him right on the liver because he hit him right like underneath the rib cage.
Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot, man. But yeah, that was like right on the spot, man.
Some fighters can take it. Holyfield took it pretty well. Ray Leonard would take it pretty well if someone tried to hit him. Maybe they'd bend a little bit and partially block it. But some guys, can take it like Mickey Ward took Gotti's punches really well. His left hook to the body. But but those are the few, the select and the few. Not everybody can take it when you get a clean shot to the liver. It wasn't a huge shot, but it just landed just the right place, just the right time.
And the way well, sometimes is the delayed reaction.
Exactly.
That is absolutely true.
Yep. And you know what the delayed reaction tells you? There was no flex to his stomach. That's usually what happens. The times I've been down 3 times. Mickey put me down 3 times, body shots, and those were big gloves. Anyways, it sucks. And 2 of them were scrapes. They weren't even directly on the liver, but all 3 times I wasn't flexing my abs. And he told me, he's like, dude, I heard you breathing. Like, that was what's great about Mickey. He did abs until fucking the cows came home every day, 365 days, and he flexed every time. He would, the whole time he's flexing, because that's the only thing covering your liver is your abdominal muscles and your obliques. And if you got them flexed and hard, and he didn't, they were soft. His belly was like fucking not tightened up. And at that point, it doesn't take much, like both of you guys said. And delayed reaction to his knee. But fucking, yeah, it was disappointment all around.
In the chat,
yes, what did Gotti? He hit him with that shot, and Gotti took 2 steps back and went down.
Yep.
In the chat,
he said he won't get up from that. That's it. The fight is over. Because he couldn't believe he got up from that. Nobody could.
Oh my god, the connection's fucking up here. Can you guys hear me? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you the least of everybody, but I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
I hear you really loud. Like, I hear you really clear.
Okay.
So I hear Gonzalo really clear. Weird.
Super chat here from Real Boxing TV. He says Teddy Atlas called it. Ryan must not overcommit. See what you guys were saying? He must not overcommit. Yeah. He overcommitted a lot.
Well, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. I'm not gonna claim that I thought I made good points, but it just didn't turn out that way. It is what it is. But I have to say, yeah, that I said, dude, like if he throws heavy with the first punch, he's not gonna throw as heavy with the trail one. You got to take something off one punch to throw harder with the second, or whether you throw harder with the first one. This could happen. You go. Left hook heavy on the first one. Hey man, you're gonna get out of balance, dude. Yep. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have thrown the left hook, but at least throw it from the outside. There's such a thing as being aggressive from the outside. Like Julio Cesar Chavez was telling Joshua to do in the rematch with Andy Ruiz. Yes, be aggressive from the outside with the straight punches. And Ryan longer, taller than Tank Davis, that left hook could have worked for mid range, but no, he had to crowd him.
Yeah.
Look what he did in the second round, guys. That was when he let his hands go, his hand speed baffled. Davis had a hard time with the hand speed.
Yeah.
Right? There's no doubt about it. He was getting off first, those jabs. When he was aggressive before he fucking had his heart punched out, he was all over it. And Davis wasn't reacting well to it. He was turning his back,
to the
running,
referee, Jimmy.
Diving at his waist. What's that, brother?
Davis was complaining and looking at the ref. He looked confused.
Exactly.
As fuck, man.
When you see somebody turn to the ref, they're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's hit me in the head. He's doing this. He's doing that. Dude, fight him. You know what you should probably do if you're upset? Punch him in the face. What do you want me to say, right? What the fuck?
In the chat, Carlos Torres is saying, super chat, thank you. He says, you don't have to like Tank Davis, but in the ring, he's great.
I can't say that yet because this was Ryan. This is, like I said, this was a crossroads fight. Tank hasn't been matched that heavily against the. Let's face it, nobody thought Isaac Cruz was anywhere near going to be a contender in the sport based off of the talent that he showed until he fought Tank. So now, because of Tank, because he looked good against Tank, he's now a quote unquote a formidable opponent. That to me there's a hole in that flaw. There's a flaw in that theory when you weren't considered anything talented until you fought a guy who we've questioned his competition. Now all of a sudden you're a valid competition. I'm not ready to call Tank great. I'm not going to say he's bad, and I think he's going to pose problems to certain people so long as they fight his fight.
Exactly.
So if Haney goes in there trying to pot shot and overcommits or doesn't commit enough, I can see Tank winning a fight against Haney. That doesn't mean I can't see Haney pot shotting and holding and walking him backwards and doing what I think he's going to do to Loma. But at the same time, I have that as a 50-50, not because of last night at all. It's because it did show me that Tank has a level of experience and talent to compete with a lot of these guys. I don't know if he can beat all of them due to the fact that some of them are busier and a lot of them are more experienced and smarter than Ryan. And Tank did not show a higher IQ. He did not show a higher skill set. He showed he was more powerful, more patient, more experienced. And these are key things that he's going to need to be successful. And there were key things last night. That doesn't mean that they're going to work against a Shakur Stevens or a Devin Haney, a younger Loma, which we don't have. We have the Loma that we have. And then it depends on what Tank wants to do after this, because his build doesn't look like he's going to be very comfortable at 140. And I know he's not moving back down to 130. So I'm not saying Tank's career is in question after the biggest win of his career or the most significant one, but the where does he go from here still isn't answered, because there's no sign that he wants to still fight outside the PBC again.
Yeah,
question
he's not
for
going
you.
to.
Question: there's a lot of people after the fight started saying that or praising Tank Davis's high IQ, high boxing IQ. Did you guys see that in this fight? I think Chief already answered that. What about you guys?
No, I didn't, and I'm not going to call somebody great until they beat great competition. He won all 12 with the one-legged Gamboa. Okay, Isaac Cruz was handpicked for him to feast upon. All right, he's not fought anybody he fights. He's always like very wide Vegas odds. All right, he's never in 50-50 fights. He hasn't been in a 50-50 fight in 6 years, and even last night, you know how you can tell this dude didn't take this that serious? Like everybody said he was training that hard. He was soft in the midsection. That's why his draws were up so fucking high. He was soft. I was shocked to see how soft he was still in the midsection. And he taunted this kid, punched the heart out of him in the second round. And when he fights a real belt, I mean, this whole 5-time 3-division world champion, stop that shit. It's such a joke. It's an insult to the fucking guys who out unify divisions. And this kid's called, how can you, it just really pisses me off. They need to stop that shit.
That introduction for Tank Davis, also for Ryan Garcia, making his Showtime debut, like it's something you need to mention. Like, anyways. And then when they introduced Tank Davis, 5-time champion, 3 divisions. I'm like, wow, they make it pound for pound. They mentioned pound for pound. And I was like, wow, they're really giving this guy.
Oh no, he's accolades. Top 5. You can't even deny it. Just ask Stephen A. Smith. Don't even deny it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't deny
I know exactly.
And Stephen A. Smith only knows who Tank is because he's associated with Floyd Mayweather. But anyway, back to the people that really know boxing. It's not that I'm trying to discredit Tank. This was a non-title fight between two guys at a crossroads, and this wasn't even if it would have been for Tank's belt, the undisputed champion is Devin Haney. So, Boxing with Frank tried to, you're not a real boxing fan. I forgot more about boxing than that guy's ever going to know. But what I do know is the fact that even though this was a quote-unquote high-profile fight, neither one of them are elite. Tank is ahead of Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan is probably the same rank as all the people Tank has beaten. We've all said that most of them are second-tier opposition. So Ryan may be a second-tier fighter, and we just didn't know it. And Tank exposed it, which in that case, again, congratulations to Tank for doing that. But at the bottom line is he's not fighting Haney. He's not the champion in a division. And he hasn't been since he left junior lightweight. There's been undisputed champions everywhere he's fought since he left 130. And I can't put him above Devin Haney, who traveled down to Australia to fight Kambosos. No, he didn't fight Lomachenko for the undisputed, but he fought who was there. The guy was at the time was Kambosos. He went out of his country twice to fight the guy. I don't like Devin Haney. I think he's very plain. I'm not overly impressed with his career, but he's the man. You don't have to like it. That's who's there. And I'm not going to put Tank above something like that, in it, especially his division, till he does that in the division. He's fought in 2 divisions, have an undisputed champion, and he hasn't fought either one of them.
Super chat from Bushido Key. Thank you for your contribution. He says Ryan's most impressive win in his career was when Eddie Reynoso was in his corner and Canelo in his camp. Was that just a coincidence? Maybe, we don't know. Also, the opposition. I mean, Tank Davis is better than anything Ryan has ever faced. But it's an interesting point. Another super chat, KO Surge. Thank you for your contribution. He says Ryan needs to go back to Reynoso Goosen trash coach. Oh, okay. I don't think he's gonna go back to Reynoso. I don't think they want him back. But interesting point as well.
No, I really don't.
Go ahead, guys.
I was gonna say the same people who like to make up that fucking fairy tale that Lomachenko ducked Haney are the same ones who get very upset when you say that, which that is a fairy tale, but this is a fact. Davis openly ducked Lomachenko time and time again, year after year after year. Floyd would be asked, oh, well, maybe next year. He's not ready yet. There was times he was the number one for the belts that Loma had, number one. The offers were made multiple times. Bob came on. We sent offers, more money than the kids ever made, and Floyd wouldn't even call him back. The only time Floyd ever tried to make the fight and call Bob is when they had their falling out and he moved back to Baltimore and he wouldn't train. He refused to train in Vegas. And fucking Floyd was like, okay, fine. We're going to make that Lomachenko fight. And next you know, they were buddy again. That fight was called off. So for 5 years, he openly ducked Lomachenko. And there's a reason for that. The same reason why Shakur would box that kid's face off. Box his face off, and fucking, I believe right now, Keyshawn Davis would beat him at 135.
I don't know enough about Keyshawn Davis yet, even though he's from the neck of the area that I've been living for a while. But I do know that Shakur, I don't think Shakur is a power puncher, but he fights like he tries to be. And what I mean by that is the way Pernell Whitaker was till he hurt his hand early in his career. He used to load up with his left big time, and when you left an opening, he would launch it in there and try and do some damage. Pernell had weak hands.
Oh yeah.
So he went to be more of a pat guy. He didn't load up very much. He just tried to tap you more times than you tap him and make you miss. Make you miss obviously. He wouldn't always try and make you pay when you miss. He just wanted your miss to be so obvious that the judges would see it, and then when he would make his counter punches or when he landed his own punches, he's the only one landing. Okay, that's kind of what I'm getting at. But Shakur, when he likes to come in, he likes to make sure you see that punch is landing as hard as he can throw it sometimes. And when he does that, he may not have a lot of power, but you see the damage. It's been accumulating. He's been beating some people up lately. I didn't think he was going to amount to much, but he's actually trying to beat people up. He reminds me a little bit of a softer punching, lightweight left-handed James Toney. He makes you miss. He tries to make you pay instantly.
Yeah, he's a left-hander. That's his best, the body shot that he has. But you know what? I mentioned it to BDA. Now, unlike Golovkin, it's not with power, but one thing that's kind of similar, he punches through the target, but this guy does it with speed instead of power. So he sees his punch going through with speed and timing, and I think that's the reason he ends up breaking his hands, because the hands can't take it, although the intention is to punch through with speed. Hey, with Ryan, you know what? Like, once again, I admit that he don't have no inside game because the way he was covering up and all that, but the way he was coming in tells me that, like, prior, going back to maybe like when sparring or like early on in his other fights, he's not afraid to go inside. But right now, why couldn't he take a punch? For one, he was facing a puncher, but then again, the weight class. The weight class, because obviously he's not intimidated like Joshua. When a guy gets hurt, he doesn't want to exchange with you no more. But apparently this was not the case with Ryan. He's confident when he steps in, although he don't have a good defense, he's still acting like a person that's unafraid to step in, be aggressive, because he was being aggressive. But okay, he's being aggressive, but then he's getting hit with the first punch and he's going down. Obviously, it has to do with the weight cut. Or doesn't that make sense?
I think I know what you're getting at, but until we see him countered with a similar shot against someone who hits close to the same as Davis at 140 and see if he can take it. Remember, De La Hoya went down at lightweight and junior lightweight because it was too light of a weight for him. Once he got up to 140, 147, his jaw was pretty steady. He wasn't getting hurt nearly that much. Corte was the only person that hurt him until Hopkins. That was quite a bit of years in between, and Hopkins was with a body shot, not the shot to the chin. So is the weight the reason why his legs were completely weak? We won't know until later. We'll have to see him at junior welterweight. We'll have to see who he faces, and when they do give him counter shots, does he go down that quickly? Tank is a power puncher. He hit him with his weight completely off balance. Most fighters would have gone down from that. He got back up, and I understand what you're saying. We'll have to wait and see on whether the weight was the issue up for his legs.
Well, yeah, what I was getting at is, sometimes like a fighter that used to be aggressive, like, for example, Anthony Joshua, when he takes the canvas, like he did against Andy Ruiz, he's never the same no more because he's showing us that. Ryan Garcia didn't have those signs of like, hey, I hit the canvas so hard before that I become a trepidatious fighter like Anthony Joshua. You could tell how the young kid fights. He's like fucking unafraid to step in. So you kind of have to wonder if he's unafraid to step in, although, mind you, I'm not saying that he got a good game on the inside. I'll admit that. But still, he was unafraid, telling me that prior to this fight, he was probably taking punches and kind of dealing with them. All right, he got up this time. He did it against Campbell. All right, many fighters have gone down and gotten up. But when he took that first knockdown, it was a different reaction. So maybe he felt something that he had never faced before, although also taking consideration that Tank's a power puncher. But then again, it has to do something with the weight cut as well.
Maybe. Yes, the weight cut is a factor for both of them, to be honest. Here's my my counterpoint of what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just bringing up a point of something different. Diego Corrales went down 7 times against Mayweather. Now, that was a junior lightweight where Mayweather had a better punch than he did at lightweight or anything else. But then he goes up to 135 and he fights Freitas, doesn't go down at all and gets hit with everything but the kitchen sink. His legs barely buckle. He is in a phone booth fight is what I'm trying to say, like an enclosed fight with Castillo for 10 rounds before he finally gets hurt. His legs were solid at 135. He was stronger there. The spitting in the mouth piece might have got him won that fight, but with the punches they were exchanging, if he had the same legs there at 130, these guys would have floored him several times over. So do I think, and now the latter part of this, this is going long, I know, but I don't think Floyd would have floored Corrales a single time at 135. I think he would have beaten him the same way, leaping in with hooks and pot shotting him because he would have been too slow, but his legs would have been solid there. So my counterpoint to you is we won't know till he gets up to 140 to see if his legs are going to be solid there. One of the reasons why he went down wasn't just if it was because of the weight cut, because of the liver shot and everything else, we won't know if the weight cut is the result of the problem until we see what kind of a chin he has at 140 or 147. At the moment, I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to be that much better, but we'll see.
In the chat, Uriah Smith with a super chat. He says announcers kept comparing the fight to Leonard Duran, the first fight. I didn't hear that. Well, that's pathetic. Let's take a phone call, guys. Let's take a phone call. 347. You're on the air. 347.
Gentlemen, how you doing? It's NPR guy. What's going on?
What's
NPR,
up?
NPR, what's up, buddy?
Good afternoon, sir.
Anyway, so last night we basically saw the limits of Ryan Garcia, and I'm the guy that left the thing in the chat about it was last night's promise versus the known factor in Tank. We know the limits of Tank, or we've seen the kind of through age and through watching him fight the kind of competition he's fought. But the promise is that, okay, let's see if Ryan can get it done. But the fact of the matter is those factors never got fixed. And Joe Goosen is one of the best teachers. But the problem is that this guy is never going to be able to learn it. A few fights ago, before he started training with Joe Goosen, before his mental breakdown, he said, I'm going to have 3 or 4 more fights, and then I'm going to quit the game. And this is Ryan, by the way, who said that. And that means that he knows there's no money in it or there's no future in it for him, and there's better money in cologne and underwear commercials and talk show appearances in Guadalajara than there are going to be in boxing. And there's no way that this guy's... We've seen the limits of Ryan. He can't go to 140. There's no question about it. A guy like Regis Prograis will beat the crap out of him. I think Teofimo Lopez would beat the crap out of Ryan. You know, make him go backwards, and Teofimo Lopez will punch him in the nose. And same thing for Regis Prograis. Same thing for definitely Josh Taylor. Will beat the stuffing out of him. Any top guy who's a B fighter will beat the pants off of Ryan Garcia. He's reached his limits, or he doesn't want to learn, and it's all for show. Anyway, gentlemen, take care. Bye-bye.
Great call. Thank you, man. Call back again.
Awesome call.
Yeah,
Yep.
great points.
I said, why is he pushing so hard? A year ago when he started pushing real hard for this fight, I'm like, why is he jumping steps? Why is he trying to go to Davis? I said it then. I said it's too soon. I'd like to see him take 2 more fights because I think he knew. That, like, hey, let me get my big money fight out of the way because he's not going to have another one. He goes to 140, he's going to get destroyed, like that caller just said.
He needs to work on his
stay down 135. I mean, and why he could make the same money he's making now without getting punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, Bucho, go.
He needs to work on his fundamentals before he tries to do anything else.
He's 25.
I know, but still,
he's got to dedicate real quickly to something and dedicate wholeheartedly to make these changes quickly because the window. He's 25.
Yeah,
this should be his peak. 2 years ago, it was different when he was 20.
This is like Wilder.
3, we could say all this stuff. He's run out of time. He's got to do it yesterday if he wants a career in the sport.
Yeah.
So he's different though because he started boxing when he was 7 years old, turned professional when he was 17. He's got a decent amateur career, more than it's kind of like exemplary, 15-time national champion and whatever. This is his first loss. I'm not getting ready to like give up on him because of the speed and power. How many people wish to like be blessed with those 2 things? I think the problem with him that's different to Wilder. I mean, they're both one-dimensional. It's kind of the same. I get it, but since the dimension that Ryan uses with that speed to land his power has always worked for him, I guess he has never really had to step outside from that comfort zone of always getting these dudes out of there with that fucking leaping left hook, with the lead left hook. I'm sorry. But yeah, so did he get stuck too much throwing that punch that he's never resorted to doing anything else, and that's the reason he's become one-dimensional? Maybe I'm answering my own fucking question.
But what I'd say, dude, and I'd agree, like, just because you lose a fight, I'm the first one, but 2 big things. He only fights once a year. If anything, he's going to get worse because of ring rust, and inactivity is not going to get better. Nope. If you're not fighting, you're either getting better or you're getting worse, right? And he quit. He quit. He could have got up. He should have got up. It was a pay-per-view.
His own words said, I think I could have got up, and I didn't. I mean, he never said I didn't want to. He never admitted any of that. But he clearly said I tried to get up, and then I wanted to get up, and and he even said the words I could get up. Well, if you could get up, then you should have. If you didn't, then you're Victor Ortiz. I don't think
the reason why. I was gonna say real quick, dude. The reason why he didn't, because the reason why he admitted that, and I think it might have slipped out, because I think he's a good kid. I think he's got a good heart, and I think he's got his head on straight. And I wish him nothing but the best. I have no ill will towards him personally, and I think that slipped out because he knows people paid a lot of money. The tickets paid a lot of money. Maybe casuals bought into the fucking hype. You know what I mean? We all kind of knew how it would go. I think we all wanted him to win. Obviously, there's not fucking Davis doesn't have a redeeming quality about that kid. He really doesn't. And I'd fucking argue that point with anybody. And that matters to me for who I support financially as a fighter. But anyways, so yeah, continue, bro.
Yeah, more phone calls here. We got more phone calls.
Go to the phone calls because we can go back and forth on this for a while and be saying the same thing and agreeing the whole time.
All right. 773. I think it's Kevin. 773. Please go ahead.
Fuck is up?
What's up, man?
K-Dog.
I'm gonna tell you what, Jimmy, we got hoodwinked. Cause we got hoodwinked. Not you, but the general public. The way this fight was being advertised, or the way basically the general public, the casuals, even the hardcore, some of them, it was some unification bout with 2 top 5 pound-for-pound fighters. It wasn't any of that. It was a young up-and-comer with a lot of social media hype against a guy who really, I don't know. Davis is, I'm torn on Davis. I don't know what is. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a really good fighter, but he just doesn't have that marquee win. He doesn't have that marquee win where it's like, oh wow, and he's the real deal. Now he's just a bunch of fights where he obviously looks impressive, but I just don't know where to grade him. I think he's a good talent, but this fight was just, we got hoodwinked. And the thing is, people complain, but we could sit there. It could have been like a unification bout against these 2 big fighters. People complain, yeah, but who are they? They're no names. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Overall, I think it was the fight was good for boxing because even though Garcia really didn't have no business being in the ring with Tank, I think it was still good because it was a big fight, a lot of hype, and we need that. That's what we need. We need big fights with a lot of hype. Putting it on the line, and they did that. So I think it was good, but still, overall, we got hoodwinked because people were acting like this was some top 5 pound-for-pound world class, blah, blah, but no, it wasn't. It was just like a hype machine fight.
Mm-hmm.
What's you guys' thoughts on that?
What does that mean,
Hot
though?
take.
Who do we? I don't know what that means.
We got fooled.
Bought into it.
Okay.
And I'd say it's actually a bad thing that people like casuals might have got bought into it, like the hype, like people on the outside. What happened with the fucking Floyd Pacquiao? There was 20,000 people sued to get their money back. That sent boxing back, destroyed the pay-per-view model right there. Boom, blew it up. And casual, some guys said they'll never follow boxing again. Now imagine being a dude who, people were talking about, celebrities were talking about this fight, tuned in to watch it. You think anybody left that fucking place saying, wow, that was a great fight? I don't think it did the sport any fucking favors at all.
No, he didn't. Kevin, we gotta move on.
Yeah, I can see that.
We got more.
You ain't gotta do shit. You gonna take my phone? You gonna shut your mouth, boy?
All right, Kevin. Thanks
no,
for the
that's
call,
all I
man.
got. Yeah, we good. Yeah, we
Take
good.
care, man.
Take it easy, Kevin.
All right, we got more phone calls. We're gonna go through this quickly. 480, you're on the air. 480.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
What's up? Guys. So look, I told you, Ryan Garcia has no skills, but, certain people didn't want to listen to me. They're like, well, he's got the reach advantage and he's super fast and all that other crap. I said it a million times and it rings true every single time. Skills pay the bills. Unfortunately, a lot of people want to go with their heart instead of their heads, and this is the result. So
yeah, I didn't see
that
that skills from Tank either. That's the thing, though. So you're talking like these people that know boxing.
That's because you don't know what you're talking about, Bucho.
No, you think you know what you're talking about. Let me say something. You think you know what you're talking about?
Skills.
You're in that category that picked Wilder to beat Fury. You don't know shit about boxing. You're in that category. Hold on. You're in that category. You're in the category. Hold on. You're in the category that dismisses Lomachenko. You don't even acknowledge his skills. Right? You don't acknowledge Golovkin's skills either. You don't acknowledge Golovkin's skills. You don't think that's it. You don't even think. You don't even agree. You don't even. Lomachenko does not have a ring IQ, but you're impressed with Tank Davis. Like, oh, he displayed great IQ.
Hey, Bucho.
You're in that category.
Bucho, stop playing victim.
No. I'm not playing victim. I'm speaking facts here.
You are playing victim.
You cannot handle the facts.
No, you're not. You're playing victim, and you're in your feelings.
Look, Reverend, I gave you credit. I picked Ryan. Hey, what the fuck's up? Like, what does it matter, bro? Like, if you go back and watch my track record, I make pretty decent fucking picks. If I get one wrong, How do you feel about yourself? Like all of a sudden say I'm the fucking genius.
Well,
Yeah, exactly, man.
no, my issue with you. How can you be a boxing fan and watch Ryan Garcia fight and think he has it? Come on, bro. Like, be honest.
You got one prediction right.
Doesn't it? Wait, let me say. But doesn't he have the link? Yes, he does. Did he use it? No, he didn't. All right, get it? I get that shit. Okay.
He's never shown the ability to use that link. So why are you surprised?
I got it fucking wrong.
Exactly.
But now you're the second country.
Rare Breed's acting like we act like these Deontay Wilder retards and Lomachenko haters. Actually, like for example, Gonzalo broke it down. He didn't just say, "Oh, Ryan has his skills, he's gonna pay the bills." No, he actually broke it down. He gave his prediction and he gave the reasons why he thought Ryan Garcia was gonna win. He's not one of these retards that just he's gonna land that one punch. He's gonna knock him out with one punch. His kills bills. No. He actually broke it down like a human being. And that's it. Rare Breed. You got this one right. It was the odds were almost 3-1 for Tank Davis. You're not Nostradamus.
Why are you assuming I picked Wilder to beat Fury?
I know you did. I know you did. Rare Breed, you're not gonna come here and lie. We've seen
I was rooting for Wilder, but I knew Fury was the more skilled fighter. Like, bro, like stop assuming just because
I'm not
black, he must have said Wilder.
I heard your predictions. I heard what you say. How you break down fights.
Oh, you
I know
did.
I know where you're
wasn't
coming
talking to you
from.
back in 2016.
I know where you're coming from.
I didn't even know who you were back then.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Anyways,
Yeah, you're just
anything
assuming.
else?
You know what they say about assuming.
Yeah. Assuming. I know who you are,
Hey,
man.
Bucho, get out of your feelings, bro.
Yeah, all right.
But you gotta say though, Garcia, before he got dropped in the second round, the ability he has, the length, the hand speed, the power, those shots affected Davis. He wasn't comfortable, or he wouldn't have been complaining to the ref. He absolutely. Put it this way: Garcia beat him so badly in the second round. Do you know what one judge scored that round? A 10-10 round, even though boy got put on his ass and was hurt, and the judge still scored it a 10-10 because he said up till that point I was scoring it a 10-8 round for Garcia. That's how bad Garcia was putting it on him. He just got chin checked. I'm saying I picked Tank to beat him, knock him out. Because I didn't know if but he has the skills to hurt him.
Your whole life. You know how amateurish that was for Garcia to just chase this dude around the ring like that. He was bound to get
he did an amateur thing, but that's what I was counting on. I was counting on, like I said, going into it, he doesn't have enough fights. He's gonna do things that you fix in your fucking earlier career, not on a pay-per-view. And I was betting the odds.
Well, I'll give you credit.
He's gonna fall back into habits, and he did.
I give you credit because you picked Tank because you knew he had more skills, and even though you wanted Ryan to win, but you didn't go with your heart, you went with your head. So I'll give you credit for that. Some of the other people on the panel,
and I knew Tank would crack him. I knew he would catch him. It would be a matter of time because of that stance.
All right. I'm just saying,
I give you credit,
bro.
Let me just say something. You never broke down the fight, Rare Breed. You just came here with he has more skills.
I mean, that's really the main thing. That's the most important thing.
Next time, break down the fight, and we'll take you seriously. Just saying he has more skills.
I told you
the odds were like 3-1 for Tank Davis, so you didn't come out
backwards.
You didn't provide us a Nostradamus prediction. All right.
Let me talk. If you want me to break it down, I'll break it down to you. I told you he fights going backwards. He doesn't know how to pivot and maneuver. You say he can maintain distance. How can you maintain distance if you don't know how to fight going backwards? Just because he's long? Like, is that really all you need to maintain distance in boxing?
Yeah, with Tank Davis, you can actually do that with Tank Davis, and you'll see it. You can actually do that with Tank Davis. It's so easy. You're gonna see it when he fights somebody that's actually decent.
Well, obviously,
we already saw it against Tyson Cruz. But there was excuses about the hand or whatever. You'll see when he fights somebody that's actually good. You'll see, and this is my prediction.
No. Shakur Stevenson will beat Tank Davis easily, in my opinion. That guy has real skills.
Anyways, we'll keep a track record for your prediction from now on, since you're so good at predicting fights, all right? We'll see how that goes.
Hey, Bucho.
And you better show up.
Okay, let me just end it on this. I just want to end it on this. Hopefully, some of you people learned your lesson. I'm not talking about anybody on the panel specifically, but, you know, if it fits it, I guess I am talking to you. Hopefully, next time you people go with your heads instead of your hearts, and skills pay the bills. And Bucho, get out of your feelings. Deuces.
All right, here's a message for all the Rare Breed type of people. These are the people that actually thought Deontay Wilder was going to win the fight. They almost, killed themselves after the fight. They came up with crazy ass excuses. They came out with the weirdest excuses that only low IQ people can come up with. Where Deontay Wilder won the fight with a floppy glove. He was poisoned. Something happened in the dressing room because the camera was blacked out for a little bit. The Wilder came out with a costume that, I don't know, it was too heavy or something, and that caused him the fight. Never seen that in my life. I hope I never see that again because he was extremely weird and pathetic. And so, Red Reed, I hope you made that same speech over there with your LDBC people over there that you actually watched, because you've told me that you watched 78 Sports and it's all retards. I really hope you went over there and gave that speech. I doubt you did or you ever will. All right, so don't come here and try to lecture us, please.
And
you're
can
not
I say
on our
something
level.
for Gonzalo
You're not
on
intelligent like
Gonzalo's
the rest of
behalf?
us.
For people who may be just listening, who are new to BDA, Gonzalo is like almost 99.9%. This dude has got like an incredible prediction. I mean, Chief has got a good one too, but my boy Gonzalo not only calls the fights, but he fucking calls the rounds. No, his prediction is as good as anybody's. I know. So I just, because he's not going to toot his own horn, I wanted to say that in case there's other people listening. Go, Chief.
I'm analyst in history. Gonzalo can break it down to past what I can see the same thing he does, but he knows how to apply it to be able to pick a winner. I'm not very good at picking winners. I can only pick a side, and when I do, tell you why I think they should win. Gonzalo's actually takes it to the next level. I'm not nearly as accurate as he is.
I mean, it's okay to be wrong. I mean, as long as you can make some good points, you're never sure if it's going to turn out like that. Even Rare Breed said it. I mean, Ryan Garcia does have the length, but did he use it? No. Who's in control of that? Certainly not me. Ryan Garcia is, and his trainer. So what the fuck can I do about that shit? I said if he uses that, okay, and I'm not saying that I'm always going to get it right. Maybe next time I'm gonna make another audacious pick and I'm gonna get it wrong. But when you make an audacious pick and you grab your nuts, the way you overcome that is making another audacious prediction. That's one of the 48 fucking rules of fucking power.
You also predicted. You also explained how Garcia would lose. Not only did you break it down what you thought what Garcia possesses, and I do believe the speed, the power, the fucking accuracy. He has what it takes to beat Tank Davis. I just don't think his heart matches his abilities. But I'm saying you also broke it down. But if he does this is where he's going to be in trouble. And he did the things you said he would have to do to get in trouble. So I thought you broke it down for both sides. So absolutely. Don't let anybody ever make you question yourself, brother, or your picks. You're right, always on the money.
Was I fanboying like really hard for Ryan Garcia? Of course,
no,
of course. I mean,
I don't think so.
But I mean, in this game, people act like there's something wrong with that shit. Like you can't do that. I mean, people don't want to admit to themselves. Not everybody, but certain guys really did want Ryan Garcia to win. Let's not act like he wasn't the second coming and like one of the now that Virgil Ortiz is he's suffering through a condition. That this guy wasn't the headlining Golden Boy Promotions, and that he had a bright future ahead, and it's kind of easy to get caught up in the hype with the speed and power, right?
Which he has.
Exactly. You broke down your prediction. You didn't just say skills pays the bills or whatever, so that's fine. Let's take another phone call. 323. 323, you're on the air.
LA.
Hey, ¿qué pasó? Oh, it's Don Madrazos here. Last night was amazing. It was an amazing turnout. I was at a viewing party. We all got together, some of the guys at the gym, and I was surprised at the number of casuals that were there. There were a lot of people there. One guy turned around to me. This is how many people saw this fight. There were guys that knew boxing. We were talking boxing all night. I actually turned some of those guys on to this YouTube channel. And we were talking about boxing, and this one guy turned around to me and said, "What just happened?" He says he hit him in the liver. He's like, "That's it? Like that's what happened. I'm like, have you ever been to hit in the liver? He's like, no. What? I've never seen this before. And this guy had never seen this fight. He only knows about Ryan Garcia through social media, it turns out. And this is just like the staggering amount of people that were there, that were boxing fans, but the few people there that had no idea, and they were there just to see Ryan Garcia fight because they just know about him through social media. That was kind of incredible. I haven't seen anything like that in years. Like, that just reminded me of like a Floyd De La Hoya on pay-per-view when I was at a party and there were a bunch of people, casuals there, that didn't know anything about anything. They just heard that this guy Floyd Mayweather was about to lose, so they wanted to see him lose. Anyway, just reminded me of that kind of buzz was really strong last night. I haven't really had that kind of environment in a while, so I'm going to say this. I think that, this fight didn't really do much for boxing because people came away from that fight wondering what the hell was going on, and it wasn't very exciting. But at the same time, it built that kind of atmosphere, and I really liked it, and I think we all kind of enjoyed hanging out talking about boxing all night. Now, in regards to the fight, I don't know why. Like, has anyone heard from Joe Goosen on this? Like, has anyone heard any comments from Joe Goosen and why he didn't train Ryan to just make a boring fight out of it and 1-2 him all night? I mean, he could have just used his reach, and he gave up his reach advantage like right away.
I don't know. I haven't heard from Joe. Guys, have you heard from Joe Goosen?
I've seen no interview from Joe Goosen. I was looking for some. Joe, although, is also not the kind of guy to sit there and hang Ryan out to dry and say, well, Ryan, I had the perfect game plan, but Ryan didn't listen. That's not him. So the only thing he will do is probably just analyze the fight itself. He's not going to hang Ryan out to dry. So even if the Ryan went totally against it, let's say Joe did have that game plan and Ryan didn't execute it, Joe's not going to hang Ryan out to dry and make him look like a crappy student. He'll just drop Ryan and move on if Ryan doesn't listen. He won't air his dirty laundry. Doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, also what I'm thinking after the first knockdown, that's why he got so impatient. He wanted to even out the score and get his get back, right? If that first knockdown wouldn't have happened, who knows? Maybe he does take his time.
All right, we got to take more phone calls. Don Madrazos, thanks for calling, all right? We got a lot of phone calls.
All right.
Thank you for calling. All right, let's go through these phone calls. 210, you're on the air, 210.
Yeah, thank you for taking my phone call. This is Lalo.
What's up, Lalo?
Hey, how you doing? First off, I'm on record. I had Tank knocking out Ryan with a body shot. I put that up on the forum at the weigh-in. I just knew that I kind of just had a feeling when they had that rehydration clause put into effect. I think the blueprint went beyond the fight. I think it went back to the signing of the contract. I think that his intention the whole time was to take out take him to the body. I even to the point when he went to the actual weigh-in and he pushed him. You saw he was feeling him there on the side. These, I think, were like pages taken out of the Mayweather book, where it's not just the fight itself, it's the actual promotion where you can find out about your opponent. I think when he pushed him, he was trying to get a feel of like, oh yeah, is his mid-sight soft? Is that someplace that I can take advantage of? The same way when he chin checked him during the press conference as well, and he was like, yeah, his chin is pillow soft. I think these are more calculated moves that Tank was doing to get a feel for his opponent, and it was kind of just like, recon or doing military intelligence, where you're just like, hey, let me see if I can, if this my plan is gonna, it's gonna pay out, if it's gonna work out. I had him. I mean, just from the way Tank fights, I know that I didn't expect him to come out blazing. The first couple of rounds, he usually just times his opponent. Everybody was telling me that Ryan had speed, but I'm like, yeah, Tank has a stopwatch, and he's just going to take the first 2 or 3 rounds and just time it. And I know that people are saying that he gave up, Ryan gave up his height and his length, but I think it was, or his length, but I think it was more so because Tank was he was just taking a page out like Marciano's book, where it was like, hey, you're a shorter fight, just make yourself shorter. And there were so many times that, like, Ryan's jabs were just flying over Tank's head. And then Tank he knew, the whole fight, he was just going really more so after his body. I think that was the blueprint from way back when. I don't think it was something that he came in last minute. I think that the whole rehydration clause, all of this stuff, was their tactic from the very beginning. They knew that was how they were going to beat this man, and they weren't going to try to knock him out. I think they were just like, we're going to take him to the body because that's our best. That's our advantage.
All right.
I really think that if you look at it as a whole, from the press conference on through the fight, you can really see that that's really what the whole strategy was.
All right, yeah, it could be. Makes sense, and I want to address that point after this. But thank you for the phone call. We got to move on, all right? Take care. All right, I want to address what the caller said. And Super Chat, I am your leader. He says, we all knew Reverie was going to call in and gloat. He's a very weak person. Well, we knew he was going to do that. And about the way, listen, Reverie was very confident that Tank was going to win. But Tank wasn't that confident that he was going to win. That's why he added the rehydration clause and all this bullshit, the late weigh-in. So that's pretty interesting. 214, you're on the air, 214.
I called yesterday. I'm calling again. I was talking to my sister just before this live came on. She asked me, did I see the fight? I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't watch boxing. And my brother was also watching it yesterday. A lot of people saw it. I think a lot of the guy before is right. A lot of people saw this fight, and Ryan really brought him out. But a lot of people also stole this fight. It was on TikTok. That's how my sister saw it. And my brother got it from Twitter. The link from Twitter. Huh?
Were they impressed by the fight, or did they think it was boring?
My sister was not impressed. She said it was a bit boring. After like the second round, it kind of got boring. But to me, I rewatched it, and in the sixth round, it started to get better. Better. But in the seventh, it started to pick up again too. But then he got stopped, and it was kind of a letdown because I really wanted to see it go 12 because I thought it was starting to get better. After he got dropped, he really, really was kind of gun shy. That's what made it boring for like 3, 4, 5. And, so it was only like 2 more. We only really got to see Ryan fight for like 3 rounds. So that's what made it boring to her. And, because they're both
was the onus on him, though? Was the onus on him because he was being aggressive. He was being more aggressive than Tank. Yes, that was stupid. He should have been aggressive from the outside.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And after that, like I said, after he got dropped, this activity went down even lower than what it normally is because he's a counterpuncher, but he got even lower. But the whole card was not worth it. And I also think Rosado, I didn't even watch the fight, but I knew he was going to lose. It's time to pack it in, dude. It's time to retire.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. David, yeah. It's time for him. You had a fun career. You're probably one of the most well-known and respected journeymen out there. And as for David Morrell, they need to get him in there with someone with a pulse, a real pulse, not these guys, man. I don't know if he should fight David Benavidez next. It shouldn't be on pay-per-view Showtime, but he needs to fight a guy with a pulse. I know he's good, but he needs to really get in there with some real contenders.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with Morrell is he's had so few fights. He hasn't had an ability to build up a lasting fan base. So what happens when you're one of the big guys, or the guys that you and I both would like to see him fight, aren't going to want to take him. He's too much bite for not enough fucking chew. You know what I mean? That's a big ask for very little money with him. I think that's what's going to be a big problem.
We got to move on. Caller, thanks for calling in, all right?
Wait, let me say this. Ryan should fight Brandon Lee. That should be his next fight this year.
That's a good fight.
That'd be a good fight, actually.
All right.
Did he win or lose? He won, right? Okay.
I don't know, man. All right, caller, thanks for
but
calling.
I think he's been exposed lately, but yes.
All right, take care. By the way, in the chat, the Fight Doc says, please stop making excuses for Ryan quitting. Nobody's making excuses. Again, you want to hear excuses? We can say that Tank Davis had something in his gloves. That's an excuse. All right? That's a crazy-ass excuse.
Hey. One last thing, Bucho. I'm okay picking the wrong guy and saying, okay, dude, I never claimed to know boxing. I know what I know, and that's what it is. Picking the wrong guy this is fucking a sport, dude. It's like
I know,
whatever, dude. It's like, you know what I mean? Imagine if everybody always agreed, Bucho, and everybody always got it right.
Yeah, exactly. No, what pisses me off is these guys come in like they're smart and I told you guys, I broke it. And like you pick every black guy to win every fight. I mean, at some point you're gonna get some of them, right? Like pathetic.
If you're right 100% of the time, you'd live in Vegas, making millions of dollars a year.
This is funny. These people are fucking stupid. All right, 773. You're on the air. 773.
Oh.
Yep, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
What I was wondering about is why wasn't of the division, or is it all about cash?
It's all about cash.
Yeah.
It's all about cash, isn't it? Because I like these guys like the Ukrainian guys that want all the belts. Or there was a time when Triple G wanted all the belts, you know what I mean? And I like that. I miss that. No, these guys should make all the money they can. I'm not saying that, Go ahead and make all the money you can, but
it's called prize fighting. It's called prize fighting. This is what I saw on Twitter. Somebody said when Ryan told Tank Davis about it's not all about the money, you're gonna learn later, and then some people were saying, oh, it's called prize fighting. It's called prize fighting. So that's what it is. It's only money, apparently.
Yeah, I know. But shit, come on, let's think about the belts too. It's a sport.
Well, we're paying for
this. Young people don't think about legacy sometimes, Americans, whereas other cultures do. They understand the importance and the love of the sport. They want to be remembered. It'll bother Tank, trust me, when he retires and he fades like a fart in the wind because he's not going in the hall with what he's accomplishing now. That's for sure.
But they don't understand that if you try to achieve legacy, the money's going to come because fans are going to actually...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Of course.
Exactly. Like if he goes to, let's say in the future, he'll bypass these dynamite 135ers and just goes to 140. There's a lot of guys up there that could maybe kick his ass. You know what I mean? I mean, he's got to fight somebody sometime. He can't just, you can't just have these these weak ass opponents, and call them. So what is he? Three division champion? I didn't even know that. Is he?
5.
One division.
Oh no, 3 division, 5-time.
Yeah, I know.
Champion.
I was going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy doesn't give a shit about belts. What I'm sure he won a couple of trinkets here and there, but I forgot him already. It's anyway.
Well, he's only won one division. He's won 2 real belts at 130. One was a vacant belt. The first one was off Pedraza. The second one was off Hugo Ruiz, a vacant belt. And they matched him up against somebody. I lost one on the scales, and then he relinquished the other. The belt he won at 135 and 140 were Reggie belts, juniors. In name only.
Okay.
It's basically a belt for being number 1 ranked contender.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give him credit for the Pedraza one. But Pedraza fought like shit. But still, Pedraza's a real guy, But I'll give him credit for that one. But the other ones, it's just horse shit, But, okay. That's all I wanted to say. Why doesn't he just come out and say, hey, I want the winner of Haney Long?
Yeah. He should have done that. He needs to go for the Undisputed Championship. But I don't know. It's all about the money. He thinks he's going to make money doing something else, fighting somebody else. Caller, thanks for calling. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let's take another phone call. 337. You're on the air. 337.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Hello. What's up? What's up? It's Dead Game Boxing, man. I got that shit right, man. Made a bag. Great fight. Loved every second of it. Can't complain about it, man. Tank is a star.
You kept saying that yesterday.
Right.
So you think he's a pay-per-view star at this point?
Oh yeah, he's a star, man. He can, with Ryan Garcia, they can break records, but with anybody, he can sell 200,000 pay-per-views with anybody. 200 plus with anybody. With you, he could sell 200,000 pay-per-views. So in this,
but 200,000 is losing money.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, right now in this day and age, with the way shit going with people stealing, if you can do 250, 300, you making money. You know, that's about what Earl Spencer's doing, about 300. So yeah, I think Tank is the star right now, bro. He is the man, and he's gonna fight whoever they put in front of him. He's not calling nobody out. He don't want to give nobody clout, from what I could see. You mention people, he really don't even want to bring their name up. So he's a businessman, you know. He's playing the business part. So, you know, it is what it is. With Ryan, I'm happy for Ryan and his family, because they always talk about how poor they were, and now they got money. So now Ryan can do whatever. He can win, he can lose. He took care of his family, so they're set.
They never announced the dead game. I don't know. Did you hear how much they got paid? They never announced it.
$5 million for Tank guaranteed, 2.5 for Ryan guaranteed, 50-50 on the pay-per-views. So whatever the pay-per-view money they get, they're going to do it 50-50. So if the pay-per-views reach a certain amount, they get a certain amount, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, this is what I heard, if they do 1 million pay-per-views, they each could get like about 40 million a piece. And it goes down from there, like 500, they get 15 or something like that a piece. But there's a lot of money to be made. All depends on how the numbers come out.
Yeah, we'll see how.
But Ryan got 2.5 guaranteed. Yeah.
All right.
2.5.
So
Okay.
Dead game. Anything else?
Nah, man, y'all doing a good job, man. I just, you know, y'all keep it up, man. Keep it up.
All right. Take care, man.
I'll be here next time. I'll call a prediction next time. Peace out.
Peace, man. I always respect that game. Very respectful. So nothing against this guy. 949. They're in the air. 949.
Hey everybody, this is Zero Cool. Well, I was wrong with the prediction on going the distance, but I was right about hoping that Garcia wasn't going to come out like Teofimo trying to do the whole knockout. So I had predicted the flash knockdown. I think that mentality really, you know, screwed up Ryan, because after the flash knockdown, you could see that his output got even lower, and he was kind of like covering up, like, you know, he was scared to fight. That being said, the only really good thing that he did in my eyes was just fucking him up during the clinching, like, you know, get off of me, get the fuck off of me type of shit, you know. Like I would hope everybody would fight like that and not allow people to just hug. But with that being said, I'm not quite sure Tank is ready for Loma or Shakur Stevenson. I think they both beat him. Haney, you know, could be more of a closer fight. They both like to clinch a lot, so I mean, I don't know how that's gonna really go down. But somebody yesterday in the comments said something so fucking ridiculous, saying that Tank would sweep 140. Regis would put Tank to sleep. First of all, you know, he's not going to beat Regis, Prograde. But that being said, yeah, you know, like, shout out to Tank for doing what he had to do. He had so many fucking variables in his side. Of course, he was supposed to win, you know. But with that being said, he's no face of boxing. He's 28. He hasn't done shit. 3 division world champ. Isn't it more like 1 division world champ? Like, are people really counting the regular belts?
Yep.
What was that?
At 130.
Yeah, it's 1 division, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other 2 divisions are probably Burger King belts, which don't count. But yeah, I can't wait for to see Canelo's return, see how he's looking with that hand. There was some other hater over here. I forgot who, that he was rooting for Bivol. At the same time, he said, Canelo lost to a nobody, but Bivol. It's like, he's a nobody if you're not a boxing fan. But if you're a boxing fan, you would know that Bivol, is a great fighter. But that being said, I didn't see that fight as bad as most people did. Like, I saw most of Bivol's punches hitting gloves. He was just more active. But that being said, I had it tied going into the 9th, and then Bivol swept the last 4 rounds. But with that being said, I would like to see Keyshawn Davis and Frank Martin fight next. I think that's a great super fight. And not super fight because they're still up and coming, but if we could get that early, we could probably get like a trilogy throughout their careers if they go the way that I think they're gonna go, since they do have a lot of good talent. I don't know who said that Keyshawn Davis could beat Tank. I don't really see that right now because Keyshawn hasn't been up with a lot of competition, but I mean he is definitely a good up and comer and one of my favorite fighters coming up. But just thanks to everybody on the panel, and let's get ready for more boxing, man.
All right, thanks for that call. Take care. Let's take another phone call. 510. You're on the air. 510. Yo, 510. You're on the air. All right. Can you guys hear me in the chat? Oh, okay. Sorry, in the chat on Discord. Anyways, I think it was a guy. He hung up. 310. You're on the air. 310.
Hey, what's up, Bucho?
What's up?
Yeah, I called in yesterday, kind of gave my spiel on Garcia's limited nature. Just what I predicted. I had Tank winning in the 8th round. I was off by a round. Well, I didn't expect Garcia to quit, but I guess he got rocked first. But yeah, what I really wanted to harp on was, I don't know if anyone else bitched about this, but what's with these referees, man? I mean, Tank was literally like tackling Ryan in the 2nd round, like just unashamedly putting his head down, grabbing the dude's nuts. That's like a pure wrestling move. You can't even argue that this was like a clinch where they tied up. That guy was just running to the ropes and then lunging forward and grabbing him. How is that not an immediate point deduction?
Yeah, at some point he warned Tank, and I'm like, good. And then he warned, at the same time, he warned Ryan for something else. I'm like, okay, come on.
Yeah. That was like the 3rd round. That was bullshit too, because Ryan was coming on. He's warning him for putting the forearm in and getting the guy off of him, but you can't warn the guy for doing that because he's being held.
Exactly.
Like you can't interpret the situation any other way. There's not like one guy is no, it's not like both guys are at fault. It's one guy who's at fault. The other guy has to do what he has to do, right? It's like if you bend below the waist and the guy hits you like on the back of the head. That's actually a legal shot. If you turn your back to someone, you get hit in the kidney. That's legal because you're not giving the fighter any other target to hit you with, right? What's he supposed to do? Just stand there and ask you nicely to turn back around so that you can continue fighting?
I thought the ref did a good job, though. I thought the ref actually called Tank on it pretty quickly for grabbing. But what happened, Garcia laced him a couple of times, which I don't blame him for doing, but you can cut somebody. And plus, you can cut him very easy with an elbow. So I think that's why he was warning. Sorry, go. Finish, caller.
Yeah, no, I agree with you in like principle, but if this were like a clinch where both guys came in and then he started lacing him, that's one thing. But the guy was grabbing him repeatedly. He's just trying to force him off of him, Like, he shouldn't be warning both guys. He should be taking the point away from Tank immediately to cut that shit out.
Caller,
like, I remember, I've only seen one good moment where a referee does this. This was like when Jack Reese was officiating one of Andre Ward's early fights against, who was it? Rodriguez or something like that? I think that was the fighter's name. And it was like a dreadful fight. Both guys were just grabbing and holding each other. Reese just calls timeout, splits both guys up, and then looks both of them in the eye and says, "You better cut this shit out, or I'm gonna withhold your pay." And then they didn't do that again.
They have to do that again. They have to. And by the way, caller, we have a professor here, the fight doctor. He says the Garcia nutcuggery is getting ridiculous with displacing blame on the referee. Stop making excuses for Ryan quitting. Are you making excuses about the fight because of the referee?
No, like I said, I picked Tank to win. I have no love for Ryan. You know, like I didn't expect him to be on Queer Street after the first knockdown, but I guess I should have known better because he lives there, right? But no, I'm not coping. Like I don't care who won. Honestly, that was a terrible fight. What I'm fed up with is like the state of boxing, where they let these people not just like work on the inside, and then both guys have underhooks and they're clinching and trying to move for position. I'm tired of seeing guys literally just dive bomb and grab someone around the waist. You know, you should be able to elbow them in the back of the head. You should be able to do something because you're getting rid of the momentum the offending fighter has. You're getting rid of their ability to win that fight. Like with Haney and Linares, you know, he dove bomb and grabbed the guy around his nuts multiple times. Like he would have been laid out if he's not allowed to do that. So you gotta take a point away immediately the first time that happens.
No, you can't say that.
Warn him.
You can't say that.
Warning for clinch is when a guy is holding aggressively on the inside. That's what you get a warning for because there's some ambiguity. When you see a blatant and like unambiguous foul, you have to take a point away, and it has to be quick and decisive.
All right, we gotta move on. Thank you for calling. All right, take care.
All right.
When you see a foul, you have to take a point. Yeah, no, those are excuses. You cannot apply the rules of boxing. And then, I mean, if you mention this, all of a sudden it seems like you're making excuses for Ryan losing. It's not. That's not it. It's just that the rules have to be applied because you're gonna keep seeing this in other fights, and just the rules of boxing don't apply. It seems, but that's fine. 309, you're on the air. 309.
Hey, what's up? How you doing, man?
What's up?
You know what I noticed? As soon as Ryan lost, what was De La Hoya, Guzin, and fucking Bernard Hopkins? They left the man alone. They abandoned his ass.
The what?
They abandoned him.
What was De La Hoya and Guzin after Ryan lost? They left the man alone.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I said in the press conference, post-fight press conference. De La Hoya wasn't there, and Joe Goosen wasn't there either? I didn't know.
Nope.
I don't know.
That's messed up, though, man. They left him behind. But, hey, I think Ryan should have stayed with Canelo and Reynoso, man, because it looks like Goosen ain't it. He's not helping the man out at all, man. He's fighting even worse when he was fighting with Canelo and Reynoso. The man didn't learn nothing, man. He looked same as he did back then. Still the same. He didn't improve nothing.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think?
What do you think?
Well, my thing is this: you can't turn a Ferrari. You can't turn a fucking Ford Escort into a Ferrari. You can only do what you're given. And I think what Goosen asked from him was be disciplined, show up when you're supposed to, listen to me, and you did. The thing is, what Garcia showed in the second, remember? He beat, again, I'll reiterate it, he put it on Davis enough where one judge scored that 10-10, the other one scored it 10-9. Only one judge scored that round 10-8. That's how decisively Garcia was beating him. But once he got caught, the fight was out of him. He lost his heart. He didn't want to commit anymore. He didn't want to do what he did. He didn't want to risk doing what he did, overstepping a punch, overthrowing a punch and getting caught again because it shook him that bad, which tells you that's why he needed more fights. He wasn't ready for this. And I'm not making excuses. I picked Tank to win. So, you know what I mean? That's for not you, but somebody else. But, yeah, I think he took what he has with him. He's never going to fight backwards. He's never going to do other things. Mm-hmm. How he is, how he always is going to be. I thought he cut off the ring better than I've ever seen him. I thought he did an excellent job cutting the ring off on Davis. And I think Goosen had a lot to do with that.
You remember? Yeah. You remember me telling you guys he was mentally weak. I told you guys he was mentally weak. After he took that knockdown, he was done for.
Man, you might have been right there.
I think.
Man, I told you guys yesterday.
Eddie Reynoso.
Yeah, we remember.
Technically,
yeah. Gonzalo, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Eddie Reynoso to the collar technically was okay for him as well. I mean, Joe Goosen, yeah, he had a good rapport with Ryan Garcia. I think the rapport with Eddie Reynoso was okay, but maybe the language barrier. But I think most importantly, on Ryan's behalf, through his advisor and the family, I think the thing there was that they wanted to have him be his own star. You know, he didn't want to be under Canelo's shadow because Canelo's a big deal. And with the Ryan, the good looks, he's with Oscar De La Hoya, the resemblance. They saw that they could cash in on him and make him his own superstar. And that's kind of the same reason why Andy Ruiz left, a heavyweight who beat Anthony Joshua. He left. He made his own gym because he didn't want to be. Not that they dislike Canelo, but they just wanted to be their own thing. In other words.
Yep.
But look now, now it's like how do you say in Spanish? El perro las dos tortas. The dog with the two hamburgers. You can go to eat one, but then they snatch it from you. You try to eat the other one, that one disappears too. They can't give her both, so you left with nothing.
And we already knew he was deep in his feelings because Steve Kim said something about Garcia that wasn't even disparaging. And he fucking got all up in his balls, and I'm not talking to Steve anymore, blah, blah, blah. See, he's already a temperamental little fuck. So I don't know if that has anything to do with anything else. To me, it's a female quality, but I'm not saying he's gay. I'm just saying I don't like it. But that seems to be a lot with this generation.
Yeah, I just knew Ryan was going to lose, honestly, man, because he's not mentally strong. I've been telling you guys this, and I told everybody I knew. As soon as he feels that he can't handle the pressure, he's going to break, and that he did. I mean, the first 2 rounds were good, you know what I'm saying? When he started going forward and he just started pressuring Tank was kind of like, oh, shit, But as soon as he fucked up, dropped his guard, and got knocked down, it was over. Because you could tell mentally he's like, oh, shit, I'm done, Even though he still could have made it up for that, which was the second round. But, hey, shit happens, man. He's not mentally strong.
All right, caller. Thanks for calling in. We got to move on. Take care.
Hey, man, you guys be good. All right, man. Loving the show, man, always.
Thank you. Let's read a super chat here. Blah, 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 blah. Where is the super chat? Bushido Kai. He says, Pacquiao met Freddie Roach when he was around 23. Roach gave Manny footwork, head movement, and a right hook, as well as ring generalship tactics. This whole idea that a fighter can't change is ridiculous. What do you guys think? Pacquiao, 23.
I mean, that is a good point because he's only 25. I mean, it's not like over, but how much ingrained is that? I mean, is it too far ingrained that he can't change it? I mean,
you can manipulate certain things, but if they don't have the technical wherewithal to do that, if they don't respond, his left hook is his punch. He stance. Everything he does is meant for that left hook. That stance he has, it highlights that left check hook. That's how he fights. That's how he fights flat-footed. You're not going to turn that kid into something different. You can't do it. It has been tried so many times where fighters go to a different guy and they try to change things. And if they even try to implement it, what happens the first time they get hit? Everything goes out the window and they revert back. How many times have you heard a fighter say, yeah, I really listen to the coach and I reverted back to what I always do? Because at the end of the day, fighting is an instinct, first and foremost. It's a rhythmic, violent dance of instinct, and you're going to do it a certain way. A fucking trainer can mold certain things, but if you would have got him at a young age, at 7, yes, you can change things because you're starting out with fresh clay. But once that clay has been molded, it's been fucking heat treated, and then been used for 10 years, you're not changing it. You're not going to completely change fundamentals, structure about that clay. Period.
You see, the lead lift is a blessing and it's a curse as well, because I think with the right hand, he also tries to check you. He don't turn into it. He don't slow down and throw it smoothly and fastly. He tries to check, because I can check you with the with the lead left, I would just want to pop you real quick with the right, and that's a problem too, because he's not understanding that. Flow down, turn it over, fucking extend it.
Yeah.
Guys,
and with Manny Pacquiao, nobody taught him to punch on the bounce. His greatest weapon was he could put his ability to hit you before like he'll come down on a hop, just a regular bang, and he hits so quick with so much power and so accurate. Like that was instinctive. That was big ass calves. You can't teach that shit. How many people have tried to be the next Pacquiao, implement the way he tries to fight?
Yeah, maybe it worked. Exactly. Maybe it worked for Pacquiao because he was so talented physically, and Brian is not. Maybe, who knows? Let's take a phone call. This guy has been waiting for a while now. 510. You're on the air. 510.
Hey, what's up, man? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what's up, Jimmy? What's up, Gonzalo? What's up, Bucho? For some reason, when I try to call in, I keep on getting called, like, disconnected or something, so I don't know what's up with that. But, yeah, salute to you guys. I just want to take a metaphorical moment of silence for Mexican boxing. Like, I'm glad that motherfucker lost, because I picked Tank 6-round TKO, but it just goes to show, like, that dude, to me, he never had the heart, if anything, honestly. So I'm not surprised the fight played out the way it did. I was actually moderately surprised that Tank was winning on the cards. But yeah, like, I mean, fat payday for Tank, good for him. Like, you know, I can't say nothing more. I don't know where they go. Honestly, Tank might just go to jail. So he might end up using that money, you know, to bail himself out and shit. But yeah, like Ryan, I mean, either he should retire. But honestly, I don't watch that motherfucker anyway, so I really don't care. Regardless of what he does with his career, he could go to Hollywood. I mean, he has a lot of options, but as soon as he got hit too, I obviously saw, like, I felt like, man, this guy, he just quit. And I don't know if he wanted enough to change his style, like if that even is a possibility, you know, because he needs some serious recalibration in everything. But hey, that's on him though, man. He's got to learn that shit. Either you adapt or you die in there. It's not a fucking you know, it's a game of inches. You know, boxing goes by a lot of names, but if anything, if you don't adapt in there, that's your problem. Like, at least in Tank doesn't necessarily have the highest boxing IQ, but what I for sure thought he was gonna do, like how he was moving, that's what I was like, man, yeah, he's starting to get the better of him. And obviously, a lot of people, you know, after like what Jimmy said, the second round, dude was out. So I think overall, the fight wasn't that entertaining, but I did feel like pretty hyped towards the very start of it. And but you know, later on, obviously, once he put him away, I'm like, yep, all right, good night, get the fuck out of here, just, you know, leave the sport, to be honest. And that's the thing. I'm ashamed of, like, just like the current environment for Mexican boxing, man. Me as a fan, as a Mexican boxing fan, like, it's such a shit quality of fighters, honestly. You know, respect. If you guys disagree, then I mean, it is what it is. But that's just I felt like this for a long time, and it just goes to show, like, this guy's a fucking hype job, like in a way, because he got good for him. He got far with his left hook, but you need more than that, man. You need a it's on you. So, but other than that, I mean, hopefully shit goes better. Hopefully the Mexican fan base kind of wakes up, kind of, you know, start putting pressure on their fighters to actually try to evolve and change. Because if I already know, like, the thing that had me like surprised is like how both guys knew what they were gonna do, but Tank was the one that applied his like that hook was pretty good. It was like, or the left hand to the liver, man. That shit was sneaky. It was fast too. So I was like, oh shit. But you know, hopefully he learns. But if not, I don't give a fuck either way. Both of them, like, to me, don't matter. And that's just my opinion. And Rare Breed should kind of chill, man. That's not cool to do that to Gonzalo, dude. Like, you know, it's just a fight. Like, I kind of hate see, that's the one thing I hate about, like, the other side, the PBC side, the Floyd side. They always want to talk shit that way, and they always say the same stupid Floydism bullshit. Easy work.
No, they're not smart.
Like,
they're retarded.
Like
this is the worst, when they try to come here and lecture us. Like, we're actually providing, doing something good for boxing with these type of fucking shows. All these other people, they're destroying the sport. I mean, the LDBC folks.
Yeah, but that's the problem, though. It is what he appeals. Tank specifically appeals to the ratchet PBC people. Like, this is who they are. I've been around them a long time in my life, and they never changed, even in my generation. So
they have no class.
I'm not even afraid.
They have no class, and they have absolutely no class. No class, and They're just
No,
pathetic.
for sure, but I mean, but the
But
fact
anyways,
of the matter is, though, I feel it. Like, I understand, but the fact of the matter is, though, this is how that's how they're gonna act, and they're gonna continue to act the same way with Devontae. Same shit. He's gonna get into trouble, etc. Whatever. We all know when
no, it's
he's
fine.
either
That's
gonna end up in jail or fighting nobodies. And I don't think he beats anybody else in the higher weight classes. He just was slightly better, and that's it. He was slightly better.
Exactly.
Slightly a little bit faster, better shot selection, better movement for sure. Obviously the power, he just cracked him. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Thanks for calling. Yeah, people
Good
say
call,
it was
bro.
a beatdown or something. I mean, yeah, that body shot was a fucking good body shot. Other than that, the knockdown, he got back. Ryan Garcia got back up. Like they were saying, oh, if Tank lands, he's gonna stay down. He got back up after the first knockdown, but he just didn't have the skills and didn't want to let his hands go. But Tank wasn't. He was better, but he wasn't much better. Like these people were saying. Like Tank is gonna get exposed. We saw it against Isaac Cruz, anyways. Go ahead.
Bucho, when they say Tank got a lot of skills, that's the part that I'm hung up on because he won and I give him credit, but okay, he's a puncher. Look, I'm gonna say it backwards. Look, I don't think it's gonna sound kind of lame, but Ryan Garcia, he could probably beat a lot of guys. If the problem with Ryan Garcia, let's say it's the chin. There's kind of like there's evidence of that now. Let's say he's got a bad chin, but he's got speed and power and he's aggressive. You put him in against non-punchers, he's going to overwhelm them. He's still got the speed and the power, and he's going to press you. And if you don't got the power to knock him out, he'll fucking run you over and fucking land and probably beat you. So that makes him able. That gives him certain qualities that he can beat a lot of guys. And that's why Ryan Garcia can beat guys, baby, that can't punch. But in other words, right now, Davis, this is where I'm going at. Davis, the reason he won really is because the punch, right? Because if you put Davis against a guy that's more that would have kept his distance, he wouldn't have did necessarily what he did to Ryan. In other words, Ryan got assets, but he didn't use them right.
Exactly. That's what we keep. Yeah, that's why we thought he was gonna do more with the tools that he has. He obviously didn't, but it's not like Tank, showed us some masterclass like these people are saying. These people don't even know what a masterclass is. They don't even appreciate a masterclass. Again, they dismiss everything Lomachenko has done. That's not impressive. But what Tank did tonight, oh, look at the high IQ. It's like that's not high IQ. Look at Lomachenko.
No.
But no, these people don't know shit.
Yeah.
Let's take a Jimmy. Go ahead, and then we take a phone call.
Go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. Well, BDA's here, so I want to let him get his spiel in.
Well, Jim is the only one that listens to Mr. BDA. I gotta tell you, that's I gotta give Jimmy credit, man. But fuck, I don't know. My audio is a little distorted. How many calls are left?
We have 2 phone calls.
Yeah. All right, I'll be back then when you guys get to the phone.
We got 1 phone.
And don't forget to hit the like. Hit the like. Hey, I'm gonna keep annoying people in the chat. Hit the like. Hit the like. Hit the like.
Hit the fucking like. All right.
Yeah, man. It doesn't take nothing to hit the like, guys. I mean, everybody calls and says they appreciate the show, and I take time out of my day. Everybody else does. I'm not bitching about it. It is what it is. To bring this and to like talk boxing, all we ask is like just fucking hit the like button, and it should at least be 50% retention, and it almost never is. I think that's just kind of fucking sinful. But anyways, that's me complaining.
Jimmy's a good salesman.
Yeah, somebody said.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you got the calls. I forgot.
All right, let's take last phone call. Then we'll go back to the panel because we also have recognized the matrix. 470. You're on the air. 470.
What's up, Bucho?
What's up?
Never sober from the Discord, man.
Yeah, what's up?
So obviously my prediction was wrong, and I think everybody calling in trying to gloat about picking the favorite against the weight drain fighter is I guess if you want to feel like Nostradamus, okay.
Yeah.
Like the weight drain guy gets stopped by a body shot. Go figure who could have called that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, really, this is Oscar's fault, bro. Ryan was foolhardy in his determination, and Oscar should never let him sign that goofy ass deal, bro. Because I mean, that's the only thing anybody talked about up to the leading to the fight. And then, of course, go figure, it had a big effect on the fight. Ryan's not getting a rematch at 140. He blew his shot, He blew it too early. And Oscar shouldn't let him do it. But it is what it is, right?
Exactly. I'm not even mentioning the rehydration clause. It's not even an excuse. It's a fact. Again, an excuse is that, for example, Tank Davis had something in his gloves. That's an excuse. There's no proof. There's no evidence. There is evidence that there was a rehydration clause. But listen, it is what it is. We're not gonna start mentioning it the whole time. We'll see. Maybe it did affect him. Who knows? No excuses. We're not like you people. But anyways, never sober. Anything else?
Yeah, like I said, this was I put this on Oscar's lap, bro, because you see, you kind of sold Ryan out, and then he left him alone at that press conference. You see how they were all there for him before the fight, and they dipped out on his ass afterwards. The only person that you see back in Ryan's locker was fucking Conor McGregor, saying he wanted to see the rematch at 140. You know, that's the only support I've seen him get like that. So, yeah, bro. Fuck Oscar.
Right. Yeah, something
right,
with Oscar. He wasn't even at the press conference. We'll see what happened there. And neither did Joe Goosen, apparently. So, well, anyways, never
Neither
sober.
Goosen either, like I said with that.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have known something was up too, bro, when we see Floyd come out with Tank.
Yeah, why is that?
Because he wasn't. They supposed to be like in all bad. They were not supposed to be getting along.
Yeah.
And Tank kicked me out the gym, and Tank's petty ass. And then I heard Tank. He thanks Floyd Mayweather as one of the people during the press conference. Thanked him for their help, whatever. When they're not supposed to be in business no more.
Yeah.
And then they come out together. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was their show, bro. It was the whole PBC show. Ryan was a sacred offering. He didn't know it. We kind of knew it. You know, he was getting set up from the get-go. Like, come on, bro.
All right, we got to move on.
Whatever.
Never sober. If you want to jump on the panel, send me a message, all right?
All right, bro.
All right, take care. And, guys, one last phone call because this guy called in. 862. You're on the air. 862. Oh, shit.
I just don't understand how people aren't seeing. You know, everyone's looking for Ryan to do something different. He can't do nothing different. All Ryan ever did his whole career, he got great speed and power. He overwhelmed smaller people with that. When he felt Tank's power and he tried to fight cautiously, he couldn't. And then another thing I don't understand, everyone's taken away from Tank. Tank consistently shows you against taller fighters who are supposed to set the distance. He takes the lead hand away. He sets up the shots. He uses lateral movement, and he catches you. The boy is a beast. Y'all just hating on him. I've never heard a channel hate on a fighter like this since Floyd Mayweather, man. And all the way people hate on Manny Pacquiao. Y'all hate greatness.
Come
man.
on.
Y'all hate greatness.
Yeah, but dude, it ain't greatness. Who's he fought? The kid's a prospect. He's a social media influencer who's 2 fights out of prospect status. Other than that, Hugo Ruiz, Rolly Romero, the kid who fucking got beat by a fucking journeyman and got a gift decision to even get that fight. Isaac Cruz, a complete unknown who happened to go the distance.
Well, who
but
has
the
he
point
struggled
is,
with?
these are nobodies,
so
dude.
listen,
Did you notice, Did you notice he didn't call out Lomachenko or the winner of Haney Loma, or didn't say I want Shakur next? There's a reason.
He looked like shit against Isaac Cruz as well. I mean, we had reasons to believe that this guy's not.
He had
the
a
real
broken hand. He had a broken hand against Isaac Cruz.
No, he didn't. No, he did not. He had a deep tissue bruise.
Oh my God!
He did not break his hand.
Yeah.
He didn't break his hand. He had a deep tissue bruise. The broken hand is a fairy tale.
His hand was injured. He couldn't use it. He beat a man all night. And secondly, if you're saying he fights,
he went life and death with the kid.
When a guy's overrated, when a fighter's overrated, he gets exposed against lesser competition or struggles with lesser competition.
Isaac Cruz.
Tank never struggled. He outclasses everybody. Y'all don't know shit about boxing.
You're telling me that he didn't go life and death with Isaac Cruz.
He hung up.
Some people had him losing that fight. So please.
That guy doesn't even want to do. He just left.
Of course, he wants to yell and fucking, you don't know shit about boxing. You know what I mean?
Pathetic.
Please. I know this. I don't look at race as a fucking criteria of who I'm going to support. I know that. I don't give a fuck what color dude is. I'll call him out if he's junk or if he's fucking great. And
Jimmy,
nobody was bigger than me on Davis when he first come around. And what he has done in the trajectory of his career and the fucking bum slaying he's been doing And to say like all of a sudden because he beat a fucking dude who's 2 fights out of prospect status and I'm gonna hang greatness on him? Fuck out of here.
Jimmy, this was Tank
But
Davis'
yeah.
Davis's biggest fight, apparently. Ryan Garcia. That tells you everything about his record.
People like that, like you said, though, dude. People like that run their mouth and then bolt because in a fucking debate, I'll chew him up.
This isn't the LDBC. Here, you come here, you're gonna debate. Go ahead, Mr.
Can I ask? Yeah, I want to know. They
Mr.
say
BDA.
that they don't want to bring up the weight from Ryan Garcia, even though Tank Davis from his own mouth said, "I gotta drain this guy to make it even." But then he comes out and says, "Well, Tank Davis broke his hand." First of all, that's an excuse. Number two, what's the proof?
Point.
He broke his hand. I'd like to see that. Everybody always says that he broke his hand or he hurt his hand. Where's the proof that he broke his hand? That sounds like an excuse to me. So it's interesting, the double standard here. You got to notice that with these type of people.
I noticed.
Hold on, recognize. Hold on, let me finish, please.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They don't keep it consistent. That's why they're mad. And it's interesting though. I gotta say a couple of things about the like here too as well. Hit the like, because I see a lot of people in the chat saying, bragging about how they got the pick right. We don't usually get this type of stuff going on every other episode. So it's a lot of people that I've never seen before bragging about it. And since they're bringing up the bragging rights, I got to brag a little bit too in return and say, we don't usually see this type of stuff every episode, which means we're doing something right. So the aim of this show is to entertain and to educate. If we educate you on 1 or 2 points, we're satisfied. So with that being said, hit the like. Let's get us now to 150, at least 150. And I'm going to keep insisting on that in the chat. Take it away, Phil.
Well, let's get to recognize his take on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, guy brought up the excuse. He started with the excuses, and sometimes excuses are valid. They're actually not excuses. Now, saying that I broke my hand and had a tough fight with Isaac Cruz, that could fall into an excuse. That doesn't mean that it's not true. He could have hurt his hand. I don't think he broke it. He could have hurt it. It's a little sore, and he's not used to fighting with a sore hand. But at the end of the day, if you look at the fight, it was Isaac Cruz' defense and his noticing Tank's obvious punch selection that got his hand bruised. That's my opinion, right? Now I'm going to give you another opinion. There's no doubt in my mind. It's an opinion. I'm not in Garcia's head, but there's no doubt in my mind that Garcia was weak, considerably weak in that fight. I mean, the fact that he got hit with a body shot and he winced a little bit. He looked at the referee and said, "Fuck it, I'm not going to continue this fight." I've never seen Garcia do that before. Now you would say, well, he's never fought a guy like Tank, but he's been in some fights, and he got dropped by Luke Campbell, and he came back. He feel like, oh man, I fucking lost the fight because I got dropped one time. I think he went in there with a very lethargic mindset of like, look, I'll give it a go, but once shit gets going, I'm gonna have to tap out. And the reason why I feel this is my opinion, the reason why I feel like he tapped out early was because he didn't have nothing in him. That's what I personally believe. Mm-hmm. Did he fight stupid? Yes. Is Tank a dangerous fighter? Absolutely. You don't, if you're a tall guy, you never want to punch. You don't want to leave out big punches, miss big punches with your chin up in the air against Tank. He'll make you pay for it right away. That's something he's been good at. And I believe the reason why he's good at that is because since his amateur days, he was always the shorter guy. With that being said, I think that if Garcia would have been healthier, not weight trained, that's my personal opinion. I think he was weight trained. Would he have won the? Well, we'll never know that, right? Because Tank never wanted to take that risk. He said it himself. I think Bucho or Jimmy just mentioned that. He said, look, I had to bring him down. I had to drain him, or whatever word he used, because he's just too big. Exactly. He's just too big.
That's
and the guy that fought Fortuna would have been a lot more dangerous to deal with. All right? So that is why Conor McGregor going into his corner, going into his locker room after the fight and saying, "Hey, don't keep your head up, kid." I'm paraphrasing what he said, and maybe you guys could run it back, and the next time, no weight clauses, right?
Yeah, weight. I mean, and
No
he knows about
dehydration
cutting,
clause.
and he knows about cutting weight. Because he fought
Absolutely.
a lot of fights at 145, I believe, in the UFC, and he looked like a zombie. But before,
absolutely.
all right, just quickly, a super chat that I missed, but from Bushido Key, he says this loss will either make or break Ryan Garcia. He doesn't listen to his trainers or his nutritionist. Maybe now he will. If not, he's doomed. All right, what do you guys think?
But he was out of it, Bucho. That's what I saw. He looked out of it as soon as he got hit and he went down in the second round, right? I think he missed, I don't remember what, it was a hook. He missed a big shot and Tank landed a straight, it looked like a little missile. Boom, dropped him. He felt in similar fashion the way he felt against Luke Campbell. He basically, you're right there. He was like, man, I'm gonna give it a go a little bit, but I'm telling you, man, if it becomes a dogfight, I'm tapping out. I don't have the energy to get into a dogfight with this dude. Short, stocky, strong punches, fast hands. That's basically what happened. That's what I saw. That's my opinion. What I saw.
Recognize I was about to say the same thing you said, and this is why. He naturally just needs to move up in weight, I think, because he fell similarly to when Campbell hit him. He's like flying 3 feet back, like if Bruce Lee kicked him in the movie Enter the Dragon. So that dude needs to do like leg work. He needs to naturally lift, do the squats that Canelo does to put some meat on the bones on the legs. Because obviously, when he's taking a punch, he's flying the fuck back, dude. And yeah, I noticed that too.
Gonzalo, I heard you talk about you dropping weight, right? I'm assuming you drop weight in a not in a rushing fashion. You're taking your time doing it, right? You may be doing it fast, but you're doing it with a method. One of the things that you would know when you're cutting weight, and if you weight fast, one of the things that goes is your legs, your foundation. Okay, some guys are more naturally top heavy. Now, not everybody's born like me. I'm just a phenom. I'm equally built.
All right,
everywhere.
We're gonna kick you out.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. No, but what I'm saying is, he actually, you can see it in his legs. When he got hit with the body shot in the 7th round, he took it initially. And then people say, "Oh, it's not. It was one of those sneaky things." Yeah, it was. But his legs were able to hold it in the beginning, but because he's weak. He couldn't hold it for too long. Had he been not drained, it more likely would have been a different scenario that would have happened there. Maybe he still gets caught, but not react like that. Maybe he goes down, takes a knee, and says, "All right, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to want to fight because I still got energy left in me."
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to say.
No, listen. I want to read a tweet here from Steve Kim that I posted in the community section because I thought it was a great tweet. Let me just post it in the here so everybody on YouTube can see it. Steve Kim says, "So who knows if the catch weight and the rehydration clause impacted the effect of the body shot on Ryan Garcia? But they probably didn't help. Regardless, prior to the knockout, Tank was a superior technician and in tactical control. Yes, Tank Davis was a better boxer, but we'll never know if the rehydration clause had an effect. It probably did, because there's a reason why they wanted this rehydration clause in there, right? But I don't want to use it as an excuse because Tank did look better than Ryan Garcia, right?
He was
going to win.
Here's the thing too, Bucha, real quick. And I'll make this fast. When you go to war, when you go to war to win, you don't ever put yourself at a disadvantage. Okay? No, you don't do that. I don't care if you're saying I want to make the fight. That's the reason why I'm doing it. No, you don't put yourself. Now, if you're a guy who goes back and forth in weight, but you're really, let's say for instance, I'll give you an example. You're a welterweight. You're a natural welterweight. and because you want to make some big fights at 154, you go up there and do it. And there's a big fight at 147 pounds, and so you're like, all right, I'll just go back down to my normal weight, 147. That's fine. But when you're outgrowing a weight and you want to make a statement to win, you don't give yourself disadvantages, especially when you're fighting somebody as talented as Tank. Tank is a very good fighter. We know that. We can see it. You don't put yourself at a disadvantage and think you're going to win the fight. That's why he tapped out early. I wouldn't say he would have beat him for sure if he was fully healthy, but we will never know. And I think when he saw that, I'm starting to get, this is the second time drop, I think he said, I'm tapping out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not beating this guy tonight.
That's why, that's why I want to bring up the thing. Listen, Tank Davis said it himself. He said he has the height, reach advantage. He's stronger. We gotta put this weight stipulations to make it fair. That's what he said. But that's why the Tank Davis fans aren't even addressing that. That's what all you hear from them is, haha, you mad, or you're haters. That's the level of dialogue that we've got with these people. That's why they don't show up. Like I said, I've seen like about 15, 20 people that I've never seen before on the show. And that's why usually they don't show up here, because they can break it down. I mean, when your breakdown consists of, well, he's going to win because he's got that dog, or he's going to win because skills pay the bills. I'm sorry. It's, I think you should open up your ears a little bit more in this show and learn a couple of things. And again, they're going to say, well, yeah, but you got the fight, you got the pick wrong. Yeah, and that's why you're here, and you're not here most of the time, because most of the time you can't show up because the only thing you can do right now is brag that you get a pick right. So, I mean, yeah, listen, the weight class, Tank Davis himself said it. So, but the fact is that none of his fans want to address it. Errol Spence too, by the way. I think it was the day of the weigh-in. He said, look at Ryan Garcia's eyes. He spent all morning in the bathtub, LOL. So that's the champ. That's the guy that these guys respect a lot. That they're the ones that claim he's so good that Terence Crawford is avoiding him. He said it himself. This guy was training to make the weight. So again, you got to keep it a buck, guys. You got to keep it real.
In the chat, we got a super chat from Jaden.
Butcher said it's an asterisk. Well, like Butcher said, it's an asterisk. We'll never know what could have been.
Super chat from Jaden Anthony. He says, excuses. Are we making excuses here? I don't know. I said Tank Davis is a better boxer.
I address that if he's not even addressing what I said. That's the level of dialogue. We'll take your money, but I mean, what can we do with that comment? We can't really extrapolate gold from it.
It's just trying to I don't know. Insult.
No, it's the same dude. Like that dude who just called in. You guys are hating. You guys don't know shit about boxing. Think about it. Your criteria is I elevate a kid who spent a half a decade not even fucking using words that begin with the letter L because he was afraid it would sound like Lomachenko. Let's keep it a buck, to quote my boy fucking Mr. BDA. All right, that's a fact. He avoided all the champions once. He didn't call out the winner of Loma, Haney. He wants nothing to do with Shakur Stevenson. So I'm not going to elevate him. Why? Because he beat a fucking social media influencer. That Steven Espinoza, when asked what makes this a great fight, and the only thing he could bring up was how many fucking Instagram followers he has. And why they're not doing a full city tour, but everything's word salad with him. He couldn't come out and say because there's no budget for it. So we're going to try to use social media for this one because that's where these guys are really, make their fucking statement. And of course, my thing is this about the weight. I'll be done real quick. The fucking weight is this: if you're going to make a kid 2 fights out of prospect status, you're going to make him jump through hoops. And it wasn't just the weight. There was all kinds of stipulations and bullshit going into this. You're going to do that to him. What the fuck do you think he's going to try to do to fucking Loma or Shakur Stevenson? That fight can't be made. I'm done.
Hey, by the way, that brings up a good point there, Jimmy and everybody, because I did the calling show yesterday, and I wanted to get people's opinions on the fight. And one of the big questions that I had was, because again, one of the big narratives about this fight wasn't the fight itself, was the event. It was the biggest fight in boxing, what figures to be the biggest fight of the year, at least financially. And so I was asking people, hey, did you purchase the fight? I was surprised, man. Actually, I wasn't really surprised, but for every person that bought it, we had about 3 people that didn't purchase it. And they said, nah, I'm not going to. And then on top of that, I would ask people, well, how would you rate the event as a whole? And, the average was about 5 out of 10. So it's interesting though. And then, like I also mentioned yesterday, a lot of people are saying, "Man, Ryan Garcia should retire after this loss." I'm thinking that's why this fight took so long to make, and that's why a lot of these other young fighters don't want to fight each other, undefeated fighters, because the fans as a whole, one loss, retire. So this fucking, listen, you can understand these fighters, they read what people are saying on Twitter, especially YouTube and all that, and then they read it, and oh shit, I don't like, and then the promoters read the same thing, and they believe that the one loss ruins a career. I mean, look at Lomachenko; he's got 2 losses. He's still one of the top fighters in the world. Manny Pacquiao got brutally knocked out by Marquez, came back and beat the guy that beat the guy. So, what do you guys think about that? That the fact that nobody really, well, not nobody, but that a lot of people didn't buy the pay-per-view, and the whole one loss equals retirement thing.
Well, I know I bought it, and I'm embarrassed that I did. I hate myself for giving them that money. And honestly, the only reason why I did because of the show, because I call it a show, and I don't want to be a hypocrite and catch highlights. I understand some people might have to do that sometimes, but for me, because I'm involved in this show, actually my wife, because I wasn't even going to buy it, she ordered it actually yesterday morning, because she knew I wasn't going to order it. So yeah, no, and now look what you just said. A lot of eyes did go on this. This was not a great fight. I don't give a fuck what camp you're in. And I'm not calling from a bitter fucking place of bet. I've been consistent on fucking Tank, on who he's been fighting all along. I picked him to win. So I'm not being bitter. So nobody come at me with this. But this is what we got. When the fact it took him 6 years to finally face somebody, and who was it? A fucking Instagram fucking guy who's literally is on a pay-per-view because he's got a lot of followers on social media. Because Rolly Romero did better against Davis than fucking Ryan Garcia.
Interesting. But Gonzalo, what about you, man? About the fight, did you purchase the fight? I forget. You told me yesterday.
I purchased. No, I didn't let you know about that, but I did purchase the zone again yesterday here in the Philippines because I had problems because my credit card had the American address. So when it's an American card here in the Philippines because it'll pick up the address from the tablet or the phone. So it's kind of conflicting. Then I had to call back later, cancel that one, open another email, sign up to the zone again, and I squared that away yesterday morning, and I purchased the zone again for $10.99. You see, when your credit card says some information real quick, whether it says it's an American card with the American address, the price will be different. It'll show up like it's like $20, but then I went ahead and fixed that, and so it popped up on my phone. Okay, now you're in the Philippines with the Filipino phone, and even though you got an American card, I switched the address to a Philippine address for an American bank. Okay, now I was able to sign up for $10.99, but they were not offering the fight. So I was like, fuck, whatever. I know it's a long story, but yeah, that's what happened with me. Not available. Not available. Like every time I buy something here in the Philippines, hey, you got this order? Can I get number 3? When I used to go to not available. Everything is never available over here.
No, yeah, that sucks. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested in that because you gotta wonder too how many pay-per-view buys are losing. But again, I think one of you guys had mentioned the fact that if these people don't buy the pay-per-view, they're not really boxing fans because if they're not willing to pay for a pay-per-view, they're probably not watching anything else boxing related. So I mean, that's why maybe they didn't lose that many pay-per-view customers in this one because they weren't going to buy it at all if the option to pirate it wasn't available. They weren't going to watch it at all. I mean, also the other thing I want to bring up is not the Rakimov fight. Something about the undercard. Fuck.
Morel?
Oh no. Oh yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. I think I don't know if you guys mentioned it because I wasn't listening to large portion of the show. But that when people keep saying about that, it was a grazing body shot, blah blah blah. We were talking about that during the week when Jimmy said that sometimes a grazing liver shot is actually worse for whatever reason. That's the way it is. I mean, think about it, fellas. There's no real hard muscles around that covering the liver. There's no rib cage. There's no bone. So if it fucking grazes and it moves the liver, that causes shock. I mean, it's not an organ that's supposed to be being poked. So when there's contact made, it freezes the entire body.
Yeah, that's true. Can we just address this guy Aaron Crow, who's a retard again? Y'all bring up Shakur when he fought Oscar Valdez. Y'all were going for Oscar. We never picked. We didn't pick Oscar Valdez. What the fuck? I picked Shakur. I think he's better. He's a better boxer. I mean, these guys are fucking.
I hate to say it, man, but a lot of these ghetto-ass Nimrods, like I said, they don't watch the show unless they got something to brag about. So that's why they show up here. And listen, if you're assuming what we've done in the past, again, you know what they say about assumptions. You make an ass out of yourself. And I get the feeling these people make asses of themselves quite often.
I picked Shakur wide. And in fact, I even said that. I said I think it's going to be wide. In the Conceiao, I said I don't even think it's going to be a close fight. So there goes that narrative.
Y'all hating though. Y'all hating.
Y'all hating.
That's the worst thing, dude. You're hating. That's like, you might as well call them and say, oh, listen, by the way,
we don't even have to make fun of these
people. You're not saying that they're hating.
By themselves.
That's just a verb. Like, stop it. Explain yourself. Explain why I'm supposed to put a guy on great status because he's feasting on fucking Vegas odds no-hopers because it makes you feel better about yourself.
Man, get out of here.
Butcher, we got any calls left?
No. Well, let me.
Okay, because I wanted to bring up the undercut. I didn't see the whole fucking Beck the bully versus Rosado, but I heard it was boring. I only saw portions of it.
He was boring, man. That fight was boring. It's like that. What? He's not from Russia. Where is he from? Uzbekistan or
Uzbekistan? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. He was afraid of getting knocked out again. He was very, very careful.
He was.
And Rosado, I mean, I'm sorry, at 37, I think he needs to retire. Yeah, that's just basically it.
Well, yeah. But I wanted to ask you guys, fucking Beck the bully, the reason why he got knocked down in the first fight was because he led in with the lead left, with the right hand down. And that's how he fights. In this fight, from the first round on, he's fighting with the right hand down, you know, like as if he's going to do the Philly shell. And I'm thinking, what, like, did this guy, like, he's got Joel Diaz in his corner, who's a good trainer. What do you guys think is going on with him? Is it just one of those things that they can't drill into his head?
Instinctive. It always goes back to what you're going to do. You know what I mean? And that's who that kid is. And he fought a 37-year-old with 134 losses like he was fucking Mike Tyson. It was ridiculous. Fight sucked. The whole card was a joke. Yeah. Morrell destroyed that dude because the guy was a no-hoper. But
let me ask you. I want to get this from Gonzalo because I've been talking about it with him for a while about Munguia versus Beck the bully.
I mean, Jesus, Beck the bully, he's all right. He hits really hard to the body. Munguia's improving. I think that's the aim. The goal is to improve him, like slowly but surely. They're doing a lot of work with them, so don't be surprised if you get a Munguia all of a sudden that shows a different level.
Yeah,
all the while, I know Jimmy been saying, and it's true because the whole world, a lot of people have been saying it too, that he should have stepped up a long time ago. We'll see. I think Beck the bully kind of squares up because he's quite rotund, so it's like he tries to get in position to land that left hook to the body. So the closer he can get, square up a little bit to throw that, he exposes himself. It's not like on the bladed stance he would fare any better because he's thick as fuck. So it would be hard for him to like really turn over the shot if he's like when one foot in front of the other and one hand in the back to get that trail hand across. So he's got to rush in, to get in position.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a good point. I think that's a fight that could make on the zone, because Golden Boy and Matchroom, they work together. Or I think they could maybe say, hey, Berlanga versus Beck the Bully. Although, again, Beck the Bully probably was, like you guys said, he was shell-shocked from the first fight. He was probably having memories from that. He said, you know what, let me play it safe. Berlanga, though, as we've said on this show, he's got a lot of deficiencies himself. He doesn't go get it if he doesn't see an opening. And he's pretty open himself, too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that trifecta of undefeated. Well, not undefeated, though, because Beck the Bully already lost. But Beck the Bully, Berlanga, Munguia. I mean, they finally put, that would be a good step of. It would be similar to Garcia versus Tank Davis in the sense that they're not the best guys in their division, but they're guys that people like to see. They're big punchers. Make it happen. Why not? Also, I wanted to bring up, did you guys catch the Rakimov versus Cordina fight?
Yeah, that was a good fight. I don't know if Jimmy watched it.
No, I didn't. I didn't see it yet.
Jimmy, if you got the zone, rewatch. Go when you get the time, man. It was a good fight, man. It was a good fight. Cordina, undefeated, 130 pounds. He's the one that fought Ito last year, knocked him out with a booming right hand, and then they stripped the guy of his title because he hurt his hand, really hurt his hand. For some reason, I think it was a WBA. They said, "Whoop!" right away, stripping you of the title because you're not making your what they call it, mandatory. People are like, "What the fuck? Why are they stripping him?" But they don't, they don't strip other guys who are inactive. So it was a big thing there. But he fought Rakimov, who I think took his title, and Rakimov, another undefeated Russian, comes forward, trains with Fury Roach, southpaw, good combos. He's the type of guy that you can win the early rounds, but he just keeps coming and takes guys out late. Wouldn't really do it against Cordina. And you know what? It's interesting. People were saying, I was watching the fight on the Discord, and some people had it very, very close. Tony Bellew had it very close as well. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Let's go back to the rules here, fellas. I'm interested in hearing what you guys got to say. The rules say the scoring criteria is clean, effective punching, right? Clean, effective punching. So if I'm a combination puncher, let's say, and I know Gonzalo's, you guys are power punchers. So let's say I'm a volume guy, and I'm hitting you with volume, 5-7 shots in a round, and you guys hit me with 3 shots that snap my head back, spray sweat all over the place, and make the crowd go ooh and ah, and the judges take notes. What's the more effective shot? Like, what's the shot that won the round?
Of course.
Like Canelo or Coso. I think that the Canelo effect, the cleaner shots over the TT.
Yeah, 100% right. The other scoring is for amateur style. That's the reason why half the glove is white. Any part of that white glove touches the body of the opponent, you score it as a point, meaning one punch isn't better than the other. So I could sit there and jab you, Mr. Buccio, BDA, and then just 2 jabs, boom, boom, and then you hit me with 1 shot, knock me on my ass. It's 2-1, your lead. But in the pros, it's not supposed to be scored like that. It's effective punching, not quantity. It's effectiveness.
That's an excellent point, Jimmy, because it brings up the issue I'm raising here, because one judge, it was a split decision, one judge gave it to Rakimov 116-111 because Rakimov got dropped in the second or third, I believe. And you're thinking, well like I have to look at the CompuBox numbers, but if he landed more than Cordina, he wasn't landing by that much. Meanwhile, Cordina consistently was landing throughout the rounds as well. He's on booming shots. So I'm thinking, oh, and by the way, Rakimov, again, I don't judge fights by the face, but the fact that Cordina was landing the cleaners, head-snapping shots, and then on top of that, he was fucking his face up, clean, effective shots. I mean, you put 2 and 2 together, that's damage.
Yeah, and he also staggered him several times, in 3 rounds. And I know Rakimov, he also hurt Cordina. Well, Cordina staggered him several times and got the knockdown. But yeah, Rakimov also hurt him maybe once or twice, but it was less. Right? So I had him doing the cleaner work, and like you said, the head snapping shots, the counting, the ones that dictate the round.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird.
And I mean, Rakimov hurt him, and going to that round where Rakimov hurt him, Cordina clinched, but I thought maybe that's when it's okay to clinch, when you're really hurt and you need to. I was like, oh, that's cool. Because after he had cleared his head, he went back to boxing. He didn't continue doing that, which is a good thing to do. I mean, he was there to fight.
Yeah,
the only thing I didn't like in the end, was the last 15, 20 seconds, and I know it's not a big deal, but the dude, he didn't want to engage, and Rakimov was like, okay, bring it. And the reason that I say that, not that it's a big deal, but if you're winning the round, maybe they won't count the round for you, and the judges will rob you of that round because you did that little showboat thing at the end when you didn't want to engage. And it's such a close fight, you could have lost the fucking fight or something like that.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Because it was a scoring criteria. It's another thing that creates a lot of controversy there within boxing fans. That's all I wanted to ask.
Yep.
All right. We got who do we got? Alan R. Hey,
how's it going, man?
What's up, man? So,
Alan, how you doing, buddy?
Good,
what's on your
man.
mind?
So, Jimmy, it looks like Ryan definitely needed the jab yesterday.
Yes, he did, and it was effective when he was using it.
Yeah, but he didn't throw it. I was like, what is
Yep.
this kid doing, man? He's just abandoning the jab.
Yeah, in my opinion, brother, it took the heart was taken out of him with that shot. I think that shot really shook him.
First shot?
That shot in the second round. He was beating Garcia so decisively in that second round. Like I said, only one of the three judges scored it a 10-8 round. One judge scored a 10-9. The other one scored it even. Do you know how lopsided you have to be beating someone to get put on your ass and the judge give it 10-10? That's how bad that judge thought. I wouldn't have done it. I would have said maybe 10-9, but not 10-10. That was like, wow, he's really going hard to Garcia, which surprised me. But yes, but it goes to show you how completely different he fought after he got knocked down. Whether it took him 4 or 5 rounds to shake off the effects of it, I don't think the kid is like, I'm not saying he's even chinny. He took a good shot because that was a fucking shot, and he got up from it. But I think it took the heart out of him. Like, he didn't want to go down again, and he definitely didn't want to get knocked out. Ooh, and I think that kind of spooked him. That's just my thing, Alan.
You think he used the body shot as an excuse to quit?
He definitely could have got up. He got up right at 10. He even started to get up and he stopped because the guy kind of went 8, 9 because he kind of saw he was expecting Garcia to jump up. You could tell the way he was doing it, like he started lifting up his hands because he expected him to jump up right at 10, like you do with a body shot to try to get as much time out of as possible. Right. But Garcia was watching him. Like if he would have fell to his ribs, he was laying on the back, the kid the one of the brothers, the English brother. Remember when Canelo hit him with that body shot? He had his knees up and he was giving birth.
Yeah, Liam.
Yeah. Like his body shots, there's nothing you can do. I know I've suffered them, dude, and you can't get up because you can't feel your legs.
Yeah.
Or remember when Roy?
It wasn't like that.
Remember when Roy broke Virgil Hill in half with that body shot?
Oh yeah.
That's a stoppage.
That's a good body shot. But
now this did it worse.
What's well? How long have we been on? Been for a while. Guys in the chat, if you have any questions for the panel, let us know. They'll answer the questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Another thing, Mucho, and it's been brought up before. You know, Ryan Garcia punches at the same speed, doesn't vary his assaults. The thing is, you know, the Cobra bag, it's a good instrument. I mean, yeah, but going back to old school training or like the various type of things that you can do in a boxing gym. Maybe don't do that all the time because then it becomes rhythmic, like dribbling a basketball, right? You want to do something else because all of a sudden maybe your training methods are the ones that lead you to fight like this. As simple as it might sound, you know, you're not showing other depths in your game. It's like, yeah, he does all these videos. He is an Instagram guy, Jimmy, but he's also a boxer because most of his videos are based on boxing. They get a lot of views when he's hitting the damn Cobra bag. But do something else. I mean, to grow your arsenal. I'm thinking.
Gonzalo. No, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, go, Alan. Go.
I was just gonna say real quick, Gonzalo. Did you notice? It looked to me like Hank was collapsing the pocket on Ryan by turning him. You see how a couple of times he ended up like almost dancing with him, like standing right behind him, and Ryan's looking behind him like, "Whoa, what the f?"
Yeah.
And to me, that was a failure. Where it's like, dude, you got to control distance against this guy. You can't just let him collapse the pocket or by collapse it on your own by making stupid moves, which is what I think he did, man. He was trying to fight with a guy on the inside and just got caught.
Yeah, if Ryan would have fainted, that would have helped a lot, man, by fainting. Because you look at Tank Davis, he ate a lot of feints, but Ryan just didn't use that enough. He just stood in front of him, trying to counter Tank Davis. No head movement. I don't understand what's wrong with a lot of these boxers. A little bit of a head movement will throw any boxer off. I even saw some boxers do that to Floyd. Floyd, who was very quick and very precise with his punches. There were some boxers, I remember which ones. They just moved the head a little bit, and you could see Floyd thinking twice before even throwing a fucking jab. Nobody's that fast. But yeah, disappointed with Ryan.
Yeah, feints are so crucial because it not only because what it does, it'll a lot of times say you don't get the energy, a little tired, even a feint will stop somebody because you can control distance. Like Ribri said, how can you, if you have no inside game, how do you control distance? You control distance with a jab because you just want to prevent him from doing what he wants to do. And feints will make somebody bite at him, and you'll see what. And by feinting, you'll see what that person was planning on do. So, like, there's different feints. You can feint a right hook. I mean, a straight, lead right. You can feint a jab. You just by the movement of your shoulders, you can, and you'll see what he's going to do. And once Tank started running his mouth, and to the point the ref has to say, all right, enough. Like he was just doing too much of it, like taunting Ryan in there because he was jumping back off feints. When a fighter starts jumping, like leaping back off a feint, that's telling you he doesn't want to get clipped. And once you have a fighter like Ryan, like Gonzalo said, who's always come forward, always look to put you out, suddenly is fighting, he's thinking defense first, like he's more concerned with what's coming at him than what he's going to hit him with. It's over. The fight's over.
Yeah.
And also, what I was really disappointed in Ryan Garcia, and I hadn't noticed this. Most of the time, it is until you do. When he was jumping in there after trying to take Tank's head off, you could tell he don't got no inside game. What he was doing is he was raising his arms and shelling up, but you could tell at the same time he was closing his eyes. So I mean, you are shelling up, but there's still like holes that the other guy can land, especially if he can pick up that you're closing your eyes and just shelling up and kind of like almost like he seemed like disorientated. He didn't know where the punch was going to hit him. If Tank Davis would have stepped back a little bit and picked up on that, maybe he did. He could have still got him all the while he's shelling up because he had no clue how to defend himself on the inside. He was lost.
Yeah. Speaking of lost,
can I just say something about that?
Go ahead.
The feints, it's a very important aspect of the game. Absolutely. Now, also, if you watch the film analysis we did, we actually predicted the keys to victory there quite well and we said Tank Davis, his game is he's going to move around like a Indian guy with a trumpet, hypnotizing a snake. You hypnotize people with the movement and the quick counters. But it was interesting because Ryan Garcia was walking him down, but he wasn't landing that much, but neither was Tank Davis. So they were both neutralizing each other's game. The only thing was that Tank Davis' superior accuracy ended up bailing him out because both guys hit hard. Both guys were willing to stay in the pocket. I mean, Tank Davis was running sometimes, but there were also other times where he was standing still. And that's where it was quite apparent that both guys respected each other's power because nobody was throwing that much. But that's the other thing, though, is he hypnotized Ryan Garcia. And like Jimmy keeps saying, that second round knockdown really took the wind out of Ryan Garcia's sails. So there's still a lot of room for improvement for both guys. That's the interesting thing right there. That's why I kept asking yesterday too is, okay, Tank Davis was able to pull off the game plan that was outlined beforehand, but is that game plan going to work with the best lightweights? We're talking
with Devin Haney. Imagine a fight against Devin Haney. What's Tank really going to do? I mean, he cannot outbox this guy. He's not going to hypnotize him like you said. I mean, his only chance would be to land a good body shot, I guess. Or some other power punch that hurts Tank Davis. That hurts Devin Haney. Other than that, we can't say that he's a better boxer than Devin Haney. Of course not. This fight didn't prove that.
I think he beats Haney and doesn't beat Shakur.
Definitely not Shakur.
Alan, that's an interesting thing because Jojo was a short, stocky southpaw. He was pressing Devin Haney and catching. He rocked him with a body shot. So maybe if Tank Davis puts the pressure from the get-go, because again, that it's going to be very risky to box from the outside against Devin Haney and then give up rounds. Again, that's a risky strategy. It's going to come to a stop at some point, especially against the top lightweights in the world. Well, what do you think about that? Like, what do you guys think about that? The fact
you can't throw that lead. I mean, there was some rounds. One round he threw 17 punches, I believe. And one thing Garcia did that really upset me was when he had an opportunity to go to the body. I remember I said key to victory is you have to go to his body every time you get him to the ropes. He had Tank to the ropes. And how many times did he miss going over the top of Tank's head? Remember BDA? I said this is Tank's defense. He ducks because that's what he's always done because he was always the shorter guy. And that's why I said he had a problem with Isaac Cruz. The shortness, fighting someone shorter than him actually messed him up. Yeah, it was just odd. You can tell he's fought tall guys his whole life.
You know what's
He's
a good
adept at it.
example? You know what's a good example of where Tank would not do well against the more elite fighters, with Ryan's dimensions. And I don't even think that Ryan realized he was doing this, but he was setting traps in the corner, right? Where Tank would lunge in with that straight left. Garcia would turn to his right and get him completely open. And I'm like, dude, why aren't you shooting the straight right at this guy's jaw right now, man? Like, he's wide open for it. And this kid wasn't seeing those openings.
It's the problem with that stance, that K stance, is that it just, you can only throw punches in a certain way from that. It's if you're more squared up with somebody, like you'll notice the best fighters will always have more of a squared up stance because then you can throw with both hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you're so front foot heavy like that and you're hopping around, you're just dragging that back foot. Like he doesn't ever move. Like a good fighter should, every time you move your body, left, right, whatever you're doing, your inside of your foot, your inset steps should be on the outside of your shoulders. And that's about as wide as you want it. You know what I mean? And just be able to bounce around like that. And he doesn't. That's been always his drawback, I think, is even worse than keeping his chin up, which I thought he did pretty well. I didn't think he leaned back until he started leaning back. He started going back in a straight line. But his footwork just drives me crazy. And he's got big-ass fucking feet for a smaller dude. And he's got skinny legs, too. You see when he was on his knees and those shorts rolled up? He's got skinny-ass thighs, boy. But that's the reason why he can make that weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been better if he would have just stayed aggressive from the outside. And he was doing it for a while where he was like resetting. Because obviously he would look for the fight. And it was a good thing he was being aggressive, I think, because you want to win the rounds and you don't want to leave it up to the judges because the other guy's A side. But reset and go back out, not stay in there. And that's why he fucking got clipped, man.
Dude, but boxing 101, right? Against the counterpuncher like Tank, you have to work your way in with the jab, man. Like I just didn't understand what this kid was trying to do. And I'm like, what did Goosen instruct this guy on? Like he just looked like he was winging
you know what,
it, man.
Alan, that's why it was a low output fight, because neither guy has a lead hand. The southpaws generally don't have good jabs, and then on top of Ryan Garcia, we talked about that on Wednesday too, or Tuesday, whatever day it was, that he doesn't use that jab that much, Ryan Garcia, either. He likes to control, he likes to stiff arm guys, slap him with the right, and then set up the left hook. But neither guy, that's what I'm saying, neither guy is the best lightweight in the world. People have been saying it as well. They don't have those tools. And again, people talk about higher ring IQ. Yeah, he set up the finish, but again, I have to ask, do you think he's going to be able to pull that off against the top lightweights? Because again, these people, even they were saying that Ryan Garcia wasn't all that. So, I mean, what's he going to do against better opposition?
And I also noticed one more thing about Ryan, and I already mentioned it, but I'm going to say it again. It's a blessing and a curse, the lead left, because he checks you he also tries to check you with the trail hand instead of sitting down on it, taking calmly, maybe dial it down a little bit, then throw it quickly, so he can get some power behind it and throw it straight. He wants to check you real quick. He checks you with the left. He wants to basically get away with the right hand too, and that's not the way that works for the right hand.
Yep.
Why didn't they notice this in the gym? Hey, dial it down. Even in training, I think Steve Kim mentioned it. It's like swinging a bat. I think it was Chicanito's brother. He was alluding to that his brother had said that sometimes you want to take that practice swing, then sometimes swing harder depending on, how you're practicing, or for example.
Well, I thought the jab was effective when he used it because that's how he got those rights in. He hurt Davis. It wasn't a left that hurt him. Every time he hurt him, and he did hurt him in the second round, you could tell by the way he reacted. And it was off a jab. He actually hit one of his rights, followed right behind a nice jab. It was jab, and he followed right through with a quick right and accurate. But then when he saw that he had Davis spinning, he was like, and then again, reaching out, grabbing him, that gave him false bravado. It was like, oh, I got this guy fucking hurt. I'm going to jump in. And inexperience took over. And he fucking did something stupid. And once he got caught and he was rocked, like really rocked. And I wouldn't say the kid, I'll say it again. I don't think he's chinny. If that kid was like, had no chin, he wouldn't have got up from that shot. That was a big punch he got caught with. And he got up. But I think that just changed him. Some dudes change after getting fucking hit. But again, these are all things we should have found out, not on an $85 pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's an indictment of the sport that every time there's a big event, you get a fight like that. Because I don't care where you stand on who's fighting. That was not a good fight. It was not an entertaining fight.
No, it wasn't. That's what I kept saying. And it wasn't a masterclass either. I don't know. These people are blind.
You know, I saw somebody say yesterday. I saw somebody say yesterday that they think that they were cashing Ryan out.
I think they were both cashing each other out because Tank Davis has a cord. He probably, some people are saying that he probably, like, there's a guy in the Discord. He says, he's gonna do probation. Maybe he gets the privilege that athletes get where they get very light sentences, especially, well, you know. But the thing is, I think also Ryan Garcia, I think they say, hey, listen, he wants to fight now. You never know when this kid gets another big opportunity outside of boxing. I think that's what happened. But I just want to touch on what Jimmy said too. But yeah, listen, there's a lot of people that called in yesterday disappointed with the overall event. But then again, another caller said, look, you got to know what to expect when you, like, if you know this type of boxers, you knew it wasn't going to be a high output fight. So you're essentially buying it at your own risk. Also, the reason why the undercard was so light was because a lot of the funds had to go to the main event. I mean, it was an expensive payday for both guys. So they were going to skim on the undercard. They weren't going to give you Camarón. Well, actually, Camarón Cepeda was supposed to fight today. I mean, last night. I think that's why they moved it to next week or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, listen, you got to have your expectations. Like, for example, if you're going to watch a guy like Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, or Stephen Fulton, you know not to expect that great an action fight. That's just if you go in there every time, like at which point do you say, okay, I get what type of fighter this guy is. He's gonna pot shot clinch, and it's gonna go to a 12-rounder. There's like, if you still haven't gotten that, and you're asking to be disappointed. You gotta recalibrate your expectations. What I'm saying. And I'm not saying that to Jimmy, by the way. I'm saying that to certain people out there that thought it was going to be a much better fight, which could have been, though. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. It's 2 power punches.
Well, yeah, right. Wouldn't you say, Mr. BDA, though, if Garcia fought the rest of the fight with kind of without reckless abandon, but the aggressiveness of the second round, that could have been a very exciting fight because those first 2 rounds were good. That second round was excellent till he got clipped. You know what I mean? Exactly. But once he became gun shy, so that's what I was I wasn't expecting the gun shy Garcia. Like going into it, if I would have known he was going to be a gun shy fighter, throwing minimal punches just to get through the rounds and whatnot, and I wouldn't even have bought it. But
Jimmy,
yes.
If I would have been goosing, I'd have been like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you trading with this kid in the second round?"
He was beating him. I think. Well, he did. He worked the jab. Well, the right hand came in behind a nice jab, but he got an amateur type thing, man. You know what I mean? He got fucking enthralled with his work. He had him hurt, and he fucking saw that, and he jumped in. He got overexcited. And a hurt fighter is always the most dangerous fighter. Like that was pushed into me when I was a kid. You know, that's when they're always at their most dangerous.
You know, you're right, though, because I used to hear that in my gym all the time. Stop admiring your work. Keep punching. Keep moving.
Yep. And because of the way he throws punches, he was so far out, that stance, when he throws that left, and I believe it was a left, right? Because, no, it must have been a right because his body was turned because he caught him in the right side of his face with the left. So I think it was a right, and he missed, and he ducked under it, and when he come right up with the left hand and caught him. But that's going to be Davis's thing. Like, I can't believe, too, when he had his back against the ropes, never threw a body, and when he ducked, I kept saying, remember before the fight, he's got to work the fucking uppercut somehow. Throw a fucking jab instead of a right cross, throw a right uppercut, because he's going to duck into everything. He's shorter than you. That's what shorter fighters do. They duck under you. And especially if who's ducking too. Yes.
that's why when we do the film analysis, we look at each guy's strengths and weaknesses, and we go, well, if he can extrapolate this from his strengths, or if that other guy can extrapolate that from the other guy's weaknesses. And again, it's about whether they can do it. Sometimes you take a risk and say, yeah, he's probably going to be able to, blah, 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 depending on the styles. But yeah, easier said than done. I mean, again, it's when he got caught with that second round left hand, it took the wind out of his sails, but he was doing well in that second round. He was pushing Tank Davis back. He was making him clinch. And he actually, that's the other thing, I don't know if I mentioned this, he actually seems stronger in the clinches than Tank Davis. That's what surprised me.
You know what it tells me, BDA? That for a long fighter like Ryan, you're not going to be. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that he's anywhere near complete, but for a fighter with that style and those dimensions, you're never going to be complete until you develop a short punch. Like I teach this to my son all the time. I'm like, you got to learn how to throw long power and short power, because guys will get inside on you. And if you don't have an inside punch, they're going to eat you up, right? A great example of that was Riddick Bowe, man. You could not get on the inside on that guy because his freaking uppercut would just eat you up. Like Jimmy was saying, this guy needed an uppercut.
And just like in baseball, when you swing a bat, the longer your elbow stays, the longer your elbows stay to your body, the harder your punch is going to be. Marvin Hagler taught us that. The one lesson we went down to the gym down in Brockton after he was done training. He talked to us, and he was cool dude. I asked him some questions. And I'm like, of course, he's like, your jab, obviously, but he says, learn to control don't wait to throw your power until you're closer. Get closer to him. Double up on your jab. The closer you are to your victim, and he would say that to victim too. The longer you hold that body to punch. And it's true. You look at some of his great knockouts. His elbows literally no more than 6 inches from his body when he's making eventual contact with the dude's jaw, and he'd punch right through it. And another thing too, punch through the target. Hagler always said that.
Hey guys, can you click on so you can see what the OBS or what I'm looking at? I opened. I don't know if you can see it. There's another panel. No, sorry, fuck. Just look at your phones and click on the thing so you can see what I'm watching. Did you see it? Do you see it? The window?
Yeah, I see it.
All right.
Yeah, just click on that.
Apparently, this happened at the Tank Davis fight in the crowd. You see that? She was doing like WWF.
What the fuck, man?
That Ellerby?
He's that Ellerby.
You know what? Can I say something real quick? I'll just say this. Yesterday, when I did those chicks, when I did the stream yesterday, I said that the real upset of the night was that there wasn't a fight in the stands. And then I said, well, I'll wait until tomorrow, see if anybody posts something on Twitter or whatever. Look at that. People fighting over what?
Did he knock somebody out with a chair?
No, I think he tried to hit the guy when I was down with the chair, but he was stopped.
Those look like Ryan Garcia fans, by the way. You can clearly see the Ryan Garcia fans.
It's always fucking white dudes have to show up and cause problems, man. Fucking ridiculous.
Wow. Right, that's what you get when you watch a PBC fight. You get a fight inside and outside the ring.
Was that that last night's fight? That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible that there's always violence at his fights. Always.
That's entertainment, though.
He brings out the fighters, people.
Like Bucho said, that's entertainment, though. You pay for the actual fight, and then you get a little extra in the stands. And look at those knockers, man. Now, okay, real or fake?
I didn't get a chance to see the bimbo. Let me see.
Which you need to pause and zoom in on that.
All right.
Oh, store-bought. Those are store.
The implant ridges on the side of the chick's breast, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, these chicks are fake as hell, man.
Yep.
All right, we're back. Yeah, just refresh your stream, everybody.
No, BD, I still think Ryan Garcia's got a future, but it's kind of funny because if you think Tank is good, I think he's good. But if a lot of people say Tank is good, but then they're gonna say Ryan Garcia's garbage, then how can he be that good if he beat a guy that's garbage?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
Gonzalo,
And you're putting him on the top 10. Now he's the face of fucking boxing. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Gonzalo, these are the same people. These are the same people that were picking the fight by the eye test. He's got that dog, and the skills pay the bills. I mean, they're not gonna break down things. You don't expect logic from them. That's what I was saying. Because some people can say, yeah, but you picked Ryan Garcia. Yeah, because I don't really think that highly of each guy. And we told you actually, we gave you a game plan for each guy that they could pull it off. And guess what happened? The game plan that Ryan Garcia that was outlined on this show by Tank Davis played out. So you give each guy a chance to win. That's why I understand these people are saying, haha, you picked Ryan Garcia. Yeah, it wasn't black and white. It wasn't 100% Ryan Garcia, and I didn't give Tank Davis a shot. That's why that's why people don't really get the spirit of this show. It's about boxing. They want to be right all the time, like narcissists. That's what it is to them. And that's why they get in their feelings, and they get, they hate people, or they hate us, and they want to call us names, haters, racists, whatever. Throw it all out there. I guess who that goes to? All those insults, they go to Jesus Christ. He takes them and he says, all right, whatever, give me more. He takes it all for us. So we're not worried about that. Now, the other thing that I want to mention, though, about that is listen, I want Tank Davis to fight somebody good, but there was a caller that was vehemently, and I do mean vehemently, saying that he doesn't expect Tank Davis to fight any top lightweights. But he said, there was another caller that said, no, he's going to show up. I get a feeling he's going to show up to the Devin Haney-Lomachenko fight and call the winner out. I go, is that really going to happen, guys?
2 chances, 0 and none.
There you go.
Hey, in the chat, we got somebody saying, BM Bentley Sports. He says, you guys are horrible at predicting. You said Garcia for a whole month. We can't predict fights.
How come we only hear that? Like, this is the first time we're hearing that. Like, if we were horrible, he'd be saying it every
time.
Which he
it's
doesn't.
Like
so.
We've been on.
And what about the guys on the panel who didn't pick Garcia?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know what's funny though? Where are these guys when you're writing them down, their names? What's your name, caller? Who do you got? Let's put it down. You want to gloat on your pick? Fine. I have no problem. Gloat on your pick. But make sure you can back it up. Don't just fucking show up in the DMs. You picked the wrong guy. How the fuck do we know you picked anybody?
And he's saying that
they're obsessed with picks. Like I said, if it's a narcissistic quality, man. It's a narcissistic quality because they're bragging. I mean, they're living through the fighter. That's all it is. I don't know who loses. That's why it's weird to me. Like I don't think these guys are really enjoying the sport because think about it. If they're calling out other guys saying you guys are salty, blah blah blah, that's projection. That means that's how they are when their guy loses. It's boxing.
When their guy loses, they come up with crazy excuses like a loaded glove. This guy was poisoned. They come up with like childish excuses. It's pathetic.
It's retarded adolescence or it's retarded childhood. You know that they never really got out of that childhood adolescent phase.
They can control their emotions.
Exactly.
And
PDA, these are the guys that put on a Tank Davis mask when they go online.
Come on. I don't even know that exists. Where the fuck do you get this? But hey, listen. I don't give it. Like, again, I didn't even want to address the people because unless they call in, we don't really have time to be reading every chat. But yeah, that was my question. Is Tank Davis, like somebody said, Tank Davis is going to call the winner of Haney-Lomachenko out. Let's say he calls him out. But again, that's in the level of internet speak we're at now where, he called him out. That means if the other guy doesn't accept the fight, he's avoiding him. But guys, that's not how it works. The representatives actually have to send out a contract. I can call out Tank Davis. I can call out fucking Anthony Joshua. And then if they don't fight me, because they're not going to fight me, then I'll say, they duck me. That's the level these people are playing at here. A call out doesn't get accepted equals, the guy's avoiding him. Did your representative send that guy a contract? If not, no. I don't want to hear who called out who.
Hey, you know that clip? You guys know that clip from Hot Boxing with Mike when he had the Charlo brothers on? And he asked them, call some people out. This Jamal Charlo, what's up? Who won it, right? And you see the look on Mike's face like, what the fuck, man? He's like, dude, name some names here, man.
Yeah. But then again, and my thing is this, though. To me, it's so lame if you do a call out on social media All right. What's made me lose a lot of respect for fucking Showtime's kid there, the welterweight. Come to find out he was running his mouth about, how come Crawford didn't send me an offer or whatever, and then come to find out you turned one down. Your father ratted on you, told on you. But a call out, when you just mention somebody's name on social media, not only isn't that an actual call out, all that is clout chasing. That's promotion through name association. You're attaching your name to somebody who has more fanfare to get fucking, reporters to write about you. It don't mean shit. Like BDA said, unless your fucking management team is sending out contract offers. And if you're the A side, as it's now Tank's officially the A side because it's all about the money in the bag, okay, then it's inducive upon him to fucking send out these contract offers. And he's never sent Lomachenko, Shakur, any of these guys contracts. Fucking his handler said, why should we do that? We're going to keep everything in-house because they got plenty of Rolly Romaros and fucking Isaac Cruz's the feast on. Those are his next two opponents. You watch somewhere or another. What they're going to do is get Rolly to fight this dude, win that belt. Is it a belt? Are they fighting for the actual belt?
Yeah, because I think so. They're going to, because I think Puello got stripped because he failed the PD test. But again, like you said, Jimmy, let's say Romero beats Barroso, who's he's fighting next. Even if he's explosive in his victory, the guy's 40 years old. The guy he's fighting, he's been beaten by a bunch of other lightweights before, by knockout. So it doesn't really do much. So I know Tank Davis's Q rating probably went up from last night, but by how much that he can do over 300,000 pay-per-view buys against Rolly Romero or against Isaac Cruz? Again, Jimmy, remind me, how much did the first Isaac Cruz pay-per-view do?
67,000. Or
I mean,
was it even less? No, that was the other. That was Benavidez. It did horrible. It was on a Sunday night to his benefit. I mean, excuse, but a reason. Sometimes an excuse and a reason are the same thing. But it was on a Sunday night up against basketball, college basketball, I think, or something. But it was a terrible timing. So yeah, it did terrible numbers. He's had 5 pay-per-views, not counting last night. 5. Only one did over 200,000. So he's not a pay-per-view star. And the fact he's had 6 pay-per-views now, and the best opponent you've had is a kid who 2 fights ago was still being described by everybody as a prospect. What does that
There you
tell
go. I mean, yeah, it's going to be the pay-per-view. Again, if you talk about making money, maybe they could break even. But again, they got to go after somebody that's really going to titillate the boxing establishment. I mean, listen, even last night, whatever you thought of each guy, there was hype. It was being billed as one of the biggest fights of the year, one of the biggest events. Again, they're going to have to go the extra. They're not going to be able to do that or a fraction of that against Isaac Cruz, Rolly Romero. They would be interesting fights. Don't get me wrong, but again, would you be willing to pay $75 for that? I don't know, man. Like it was the same thing again. Tank Davis has only done 300,000 pay-per-view buys once, and that was with Rolly Romero. That was because at least Romero was undefeated. There was a lot of trash talking. They were able to milk all of that. They were able to milk 300,000 pay-per-view buys out of that. And by the way, 300,000 pay-per-views, that's a lot nowadays, apparently.
It was actually 220.
No, wait a minute. I was under
Steven Espinoza said 220. I believe he said 220. He actually used the number.
I was under the impression that that one of them did 300,000 pay-per-view buys.
I mean, I know that's like a lot of this stuff. They report that through Shield Media that doesn't back it up. But Steven Espinoza in an interview after he stopped after he started eating again when he found out his job was safe. That he came out and he said, well, yeah, out of all his fights, Romero was his highest, and that did over 2. So all his other fights, they've reported it at 225, 275, 250. None of them did over 2. So they lie about it. It's smoke and mirrors. He sells out everywhere he goes. No, he didn't. He didn't sell out. Both times he fought in Atlanta, he missed it the first time by over 6,000 seats, and then the second time he missed by 4,000. So that's not a sellout. It's a sellout. And what they used as the gauge for a sellout was that with the basketball player, the guy on ESPN, the bald I don't know basketball players too much, but it was a basketball player who said, "Man, this place is sold out." And fucking his new advisor. Did you see they described Ellaby as Tank's advisor? He tweeted out that's how they described him. So he's getting an advisor fee. So yeah, so he used that. He goes, see, even Shaq. No, yeah, it was Shaq. Even Shaq says it was a sellout. I didn't know Shaq was working at will call window.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've covered the fight, and now it's time to talk about that. Because people are saying, people were saying before the fight that the winner of this fight was going to be the new face of boxing. Now, I always disagree with that, but right now, Tank Davis is the biggest name in the lightweight division. He's not the best, but he's the one that brings money. But again, that being said, he needs to fight somebody that's going to titillate the crowd, because no matter, he's a big name in the lightweight division, but he's not as big a name as to the point where he can fight anybody and do 300,000 pay-per-view buys, which again, that's a lot nowadays. And it's been proven. Barrios.
Could they make a fight with the winner of Haney and Lomachenko? How difficult would it be? I don't know. Do you guys know?
First of all, again, we have to see what happens with Tank Davis and his court date. We don't know what's going to happen with that one. Some people are saying he's going to get that American privilege, and they're going to let him, get him off with probation or whatever. He's not going to see any jail time. But if he does see jail time, that puts a hamper on the rest of the year. So it depends.
I believe that case is already. I believe that case has been settled, Mr. BDA. I think that went to court. Didn't it, with the accident? Yeah, because they knocked all those felonies down to misdemeanors.
Mm-hmm.
They knocked
That's privilege. Sounds like privilege.
People in the chat just aren't getting it. Again, Tank Davis is a big name in the lightweight division, but he's not big to the point where he can fight anybody and do good numbers, especially on pay-per-view, which again, last night was supposed to be the biggest event, and how many people called in saying, "Oh, I'm not going to buy it." So I don't think people understand what I'm trying to say, so I'll just repeat it. Is he a big enough name where he can rematch Rolly Romero and Isaac Cruz or somebody else at Puello and do over 300,000 pay-per-view buys? So again, that's what they need to break even, and they're not even doing that. Boxing right now, it's a niche. It's a niche sport. People need to remember that. You got Joshua, you got Canelo, and then the third biggest name is well beyond that. There's a big gap between those two guys and everybody else. So they really do need to put in order for boxing fans to buy the next Tank Davis pay-per-view, it has to be against somebody, like I said, that has to whet the appetite. Can't be fucking Rolly again. Because again, Rolly Romero, he's in a lose-lose situation. He beats Barroso. Okay, so what? You're beating up a 40-year-old guy that's been stunned before.
It has to be Shakur against Shakur or the winner of Lomachenko versus Haney. It has to be one of those two fights. There's no other fights. There's nothing else. Nothing else. Unless he moves up in weight and fights Teofimo, something like that. He's not going to do that. So those are the only two fights. And we have to pressure them to I don't know. His fans don't give a shit. So... But
no, because
for the rest
they'll call the show and they'll say stupid shit like that kid did who called, "Oh, he's great." And we're haters because we point out facts.
Yeah.
The facts are he has fought Vegas odds, no hopers.
Yeah, they want to see a Rolly Romero
long and short of it.
rematch.
And oh well.
They'd like to see a Rolly Romero rematch. They'd like to see a fight against Isaac Cruz again. Those are the fights that they would be satisfied with.
That's why they're playing up his skills. Like he's got this master defense, and he's real calculating, because that kind of gives him that it factor that Mayweather had. But personality-wise, I mean, he's a good fighter inside the ring. But personality-wise, you don't have that it factor. So you have to create this image, along with the extra help that you need to doctor up his ring credentials. And that's why he gets all this fucking rapport with, "Oh yeah, he's a great boxer, great," but he isn't really. Like I said, what's his name? Ryan Garcia. I mean, if he's not that good, and you dehydrated him, right? But you beat him, how good are you really? Now you want to say you're fucking pound for pound in the face of boxing, but you don't give the credit to the opponent that he faced.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's why they're trying to really. I mean, listen. From a marketing standpoint, now you got to really try to play to a guy's strengths and sometimes exaggerate things in order to sell a fight. If they're serious about fighting the best, because again, I asked people, what did Tank Davis say after the fight? Because I didn't see the post fight, and they said, well, he didn't call anybody out. So you have to wonder if they really, again, just because you call somebody out doesn't really mean you're going to fight him. But at least it lets the fans know, okay, maybe they're going in this direction. The Lomachenko versus Haney winner, that would be great. But then again, that's also up to Top Rank, because they've been talking about how they want to pit the winner of Lomachenko-Haney against Shakur Stevenson. So maybe even if Tank Davis wants it, Top Rank wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. Maybe, I don't know.
Hey, by the way, in the
you know how you can tell. Oh, go Gonzalo.
No, it's me. Just
No,
quickly.
I'm just reading that. Mucho, let me just say something.
Yeah, yeah.
Jaden Anthony Gonzalo, you picked Ryan Garcia. So I did, motherfucker. So what?
These people are
So what?
crazy,
Like,
man.
get over
It's
it.
like
I don't give a fuck, fool. Like, I don't give a fuck. It's like,
they're
who cares?
Gonzalo, they're
So
acting
I
like
did, who cares?
they're acting like you know,
fucking funny, man.
they're acting like we always make bad predictions. Like, okay, give us another terrible prediction that we've made or something like that. Like, you can't find another one. They've been waiting. These people have been waiting for this moment to come out and start saying that.
I'm gonna go ahead and make another audacious pick next time over Lomachenko Haney. I'm gonna make this crazy pick. Maybe I land it. Maybe I say something audacious, and that's how I beat it with more audaciousness. Maybe I get it wrong.
You know what? The last time we got this much flack was when Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko, and again, that was 3 years ago. So I guess we're gonna wait another 3 years, because again, these people are obsessed with picks. But I will say this in regards to the pay-per-views: the fact that Lomachenko versus Haney is on pay-per-view, that's one thing. That's how much are they paying these guys that they need to put that on pay-per-view? Because neither of those guys are big names.
No, it's an insult.
Does anyone know how much they're paying them?
I have no idea, but I know that Loma signed his contract over a month ago. And Tank has no corporate sponsorship, so there's that. So how big of a guy could he be? Well, we know why he doesn't have corporate sponsorship. Nobody's gonna want to tie their name to him because he acts like a fucking idiot. He has no impulse control. He's abusing women in public. He's assaulting fucking people in public. So it is what it is, dude. But I'll tell you this right now, man. I just want these guys to call, because it's always the people who are gonna call and say, "Oh, you guys got the wrong pick." But where are they when we have the right picks all the time?
But it's the first time. It's been a while since we get this type of messages, because we don't get our predictions wrong. We usually get them right. So these guys are low class and they're pathetic. That's why nobody respects them.
Well, listen, they root for Tank Davis for a reason. I mean, if you're like I said, if you're rooting for Tank Davis, he's a role model. There's something there that I wouldn't want to meet you in person. That's all I got to say, because you're probably going to stab me in the back or something, steal my shoes.
Escalation.
I want to make a point.
Super
I want to
chat.
make a quick point about predictions, though. Nobody knows what's going to happen, right? That's why they say anything can happen on fight night. All we can do is weigh the fighter's skills, right? Who they fought against with similar styles, and try to predict the outcome. But nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows if a guy's going to come out and lay an egg.
It's an educated guess. That's all it is. It's an educated guess. And like the one since I've been on this, probably I'm most proud of is like the Castano. Like I picked Castano to win that first fight, and I believe he did. Most people agree. Most boxing heads agree he won. The second fight, not only didn't I pick Castano, I picked Charlo by stoppage, and I was right on. People were like, "Why are you flipping?" I'm like, and I broke it down the reason why. And I also picked Canelo to stop Koval, 10 round. I was on the money there. And then I also picked Bivol to beat Canelo when nobody did. Nobody on Boxing Scene, nobody on Ring Magazine, nobody picked Bivol beating him. And not only did we pick him, I said, I don't even think this is a good fight. I think it's going to be pretty one-sided.
Yeah.
Where were the people then? Where were they about fucking our terrible picks? So please, walking with that shit.
Yeah, Escalation Clause says, shame on Goosen, Oscar, and Bernard Hopkins for not supporting Ryan at the post-fight press conference. Cowards.
Hey, by the way, I don't get that about Bernard Hopkins and Oscar and Ryan. Maybe they had a fit or something, a bit of a tissy fit before or after the fight, and that's why they didn't show up to support him. But the Joe Goosen thing, look, there's only so much a trainer can do. I think they had the right game plan, but again, it's about how you apply it. In regards to the Tank Davis fans, yeah, I've been trying to talk to Tank Davis fans, but it's bizarre because they're the real haters if you think about it, because they hate other fans. That's why they keep harping on you got the pig wrong, you get the pig wrong. I mean, there was that other guy, what's his name, Redbeard. He's the one that said that he hates Canelo. He uses the word hate because he claims that some Canelo fan called him a racial epithet, which, by the way, it was probably another black guy. Well, he wasn't no Mexican, more than likely. So if either you're that easy to manipulate that they get you to hate a guy because of what somebody else said, or really you root for the ghetto as Nimrod, which again, it's a free country and a free world. You can root for whoever you want, but then don't expect the rest of the people out there to go, oh yeah, you guys are, that's true. Yeah, you guys are classy. Because you're not showing classy behavior right now, and you're not showing classy behavior by supporting that type of fighter. So.
For me, PD, I have like really it doesn't even whatever Tank's done in his life. I don't care. It doesn't even cross my mind. I don't think good or bad of him. I'm thinking about the boxing. I do like Ryan. I was hoping for him to win. I even made myself a fucking Cobra bag, and that led me to lose like 40 pounds these last 3 days. Like when I finally put it together before the fight, I lost like 10, a little bit over 10 pounds just to close it off, like prior to yesterday. I just hit like under 160, 159. So I'm kind of happy I'm winning. And it had largely to do with the lead up to the fight. And when I just finished my Cobra bag these last few days. And so I feel happy for that, but some people, like, for me, dude, it's like, you learn in boxing, and I know people don't like to hear this, but it takes a little bit of humility. You learn something from Ryan, you learn something from Tank. Maybe I like something that I saw from Tank now, and I become a fan. But people, oh no, how can you do that? No, that's not what you were saying the day before. Like the Bible says, the light gets brighter and brighter till it's fucking firmly established. And if you think you know already, everything, that means you cannot learn nothing tomorrow. You can't.
There you go.
And that means you're full of shit because you don't know. That means you're full of shit because all you're doing is going by emotion. You're not even interested in boxing.
Hey, BDA, you know why guys like...
Hold on, fellas. I got to read the super chat. Hold on, because I got to read a super chat here from Stagger League Goods. Shout out to Stagger League Goods. He says, Garcia gave up his reach. Should have made it a 1-2-1-1-1-2 fight and kept his distance. Boring, yes, but better than giving up. I see a dim future for Ryan Garcia at 140. When that happens, when he fights, what happens when he fights Prograde? Excellent question right there, Stagger Lee. Thank you for your contribution.
Completely agree.
Yes, Alan, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, the reason guys like Rare Breed hate Canelo is because of what he did to Kirkland.
So repeat that.
The reason guys like Rare Breed, who only see everything through race, the reason they hate they hate Canelo is because of what he did to Kirkland.
Well, I mean, think about it right there, man. Hate. You hate a guy like you. I dislike boxers at the most, but hate, I reserve that for the real low life. So I'm talking the people that go after kids and stuff like that. At the end of the day, boxing is just. I watch just to get away from that type of stuff. Which, by the way, hey, that's a good time to plug Second Renaissance. I know we haven't done a stream on the Second Renaissance Rumble channel in a couple of days. That's because we were focusing on this fight. But check us right back on Rumble and check out the Second Renaissance YouTube channel as well, because we've been working on there as well. Not with live streams, but with shorter videos, and we're doing good. We're doing well over there, and we need your support as well so we can continue on. So check that one out. I'm gonna put the links in the description, by the way. But yeah, listen. At the end of the day, like I keep saying, boxing it's supposed to get away from the serious stuff. I don't play video games. I don't read comic books. Like, this is my entertainment, or part of my entertainment. So I don't really enjoy making a big, I don't enjoy making this shit political. But people, come in here and they start making it racial. They say, they throw out words like hate and all that. So we got to address that. I didn't even want to address this whole thing about the pigs, but I knew people were going to give us flag for it. And,
can I say something? Can I just address this guy in the chat? BM Bentley, whatever. I can't open the phone lines anymore. Apparently the time's out. But if you want to jump in, just message me on Discord. And I was about to say, he made a comment that, no, you guys just picked Ryan because he's Hispanic. Well, that's ridiculous. We picked we picked Shakur Stevenson to beat Oscar Valdez. Now, if we are really just picking, like, he's trying to compare us to the LDBC, and I'm telling you, there's only one LDBC. It's only one group of retards.
And by the way,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt because I can't hear well, but on this Discord. But I asked, I think he made a reference to rooting. No, I mean I made because I made comments about I can't believe that there's actually people that root for that guy, for Tank Davis, and then they go, yeah, but you picked. We don't make picks based on who we root for. That's the thing. I'm talking about the people that actually enjoy and root for Tank Davis. I've heard some people try that, and they pull it on. They say, well, I can separate the fighter from the talent, but that doesn't make sense because you don't root for a guy because he's good. You root for him because maybe you connect with the guy or you like how he conducts himself. You like the fact that he fights the best and doesn't make a big deal out of anything, this and that. So that excuse about I root for the guy who's the most talented, nah. Because there's a difference between judging the talent and then rooting for somebody. Completely different worlds. For example, if there's two painters and I have to decide who the better painter is, I can decide on who the better painter is. But if they're having a contest, I can say, you know what, I kind of hope my friend wins. But if he's not the better painter, you call it out like it is. You know. So what I'm saying is there's a difference between stating the talent, making a judgment on that, and then making a judgment on, well, I want to root for this guy. And again, I cannot understand how people root for Tank Davis. I mean, it's really telling when I see people going, yeah, I root for that guy.
No, they root for him because he's black. That's pretty much it. I mean, all these people that are Tank fans, he's black. He's not exciting. He dropped Ryan Garcia with a good body shot, but throughout the whole fight, he wasn't really doing anything, to be honest. He's not exciting. So they root for the guy because he's black. He won, and all of a sudden, we are the ones that are racist and supports fighters because of their race. That's amazing,
dude. It's projection. Let's cut through the bullshit. It's always the same toxic, tribalistic individuals who will you always know. You only have to. Don't even tell us who you're picking. We just have to know the ethnicity of the people involved in the fight because then we know who you're going with. Simple as that. It's those dudes who then turn around and say, you guys only picking him because he's Mexican, even though there's a tsunami of fucking picks that you guys have gone against this fucking Hispanic fighter. In fact, the joke last year, I was busting Mr. BDA's balls. Remember I was calling you anti-Semitic? I know, anti-Spanish. I said, you're fucking racist against Spanish? Because like 3 fights in a row, you didn't pick the Spanish guy. And it's just funny that the guy who's always picked the people who look like them then say, you guys just picking it. It's just gross.
Apparently,
listen, I'm transracial, by the way. I'm half black, half Jewish. Well, I mean, 1/3 Jewish and one Japanese a little bit.
So, Bentley Sports now he's like shocked. He's quoting us. He's black. Wow, I rest my case. What's he trying to prove? Like
what? I mean, listen, this guy. I think. Listen. I think a lot of these people get high during the show. And they don't think straight. I think because what he's saying is, listen, we can go back and forth in the chat because first of all, he's not writing well either. I have a hard time reading what he's saying. And then on top of that, we're trying to do a show here, and it'd be better if he called in. But even then, I don't think he's going to make much sense. So,
I gave him the link for Discord. If he wants to jump on Discord, he can jump in. I don't know what he's going to say. I mean, he's just lying.
And you notice you can't debate him anyways, because what they're going to do, like the last guy, he broke his hand. I owe you. They just start yelling over you.
Yeah.
Like you see it when Ring IQ debated a couple of the PBC guys. They couldn't even let him get a word in edgeways. He'd fucking say, I have to mute you to shut you up, dude, because you don't want to hear the facts. And if I can lay out factual things and all you can come up with is how, well, I think, the minute I hear somebody say, well, I feel like, okay, so, all right, you're basing this off your feelings. This is your opinion.
Do me a favor. If somebody calls in right now, because the phone lines are closed, but we can set up a StreamYard or whatever. Let's one guy go one-on-one. Don't everybody jump in or whatever, because then that other person gets even more agitated.
I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna send a direct link to this group. I'm gonna post it in the chat.
Yeah, but BDA, you said something that made me realize something before, man. Boxing is not a low IQ spectator sport. It's controlled violence, man, right? And for a lot of people, it's very hard to hold those two ideas simultaneously, right? Where you know you're a fan of a violent sport, but you also want to stay objective, right? I think that's there is where all the emotion floods in for them.
Exactly. And again, somebody else said something interesting too. It's you notice, and we've mentioned this before, but again, these people don't think things through. These fans, when we say, people say, "Well, the Mexicans get and the Filipinos get to root for their fighter. How come we can't?" Because you never hear black people saying, "Americans, I'm rooting for the." They say, "I'm rooting for the black guy." There's a difference between nationality and race or ethnicity, whatever you want to call it. Also, how many fucking streams or photos did I see of people on Instagram, Twitter, all that saying, "I'm Mexican, but I'm rooting for Tank Davis"? There were a ton. I did not see that many from the opposite. I think I saw 2. So I mean, that's just listen. At the end of the day, I enjoy talking a little bit about this. If people want to talk about it, and this is what the show's going to turn into, let's do it. But try to really state your point, and don't just say you guys are haters, you guys are racist, because then you're proving the fact that you got no argument. You got to really break it down.
I think they want to project. I think they know that the LDBC has been a group that has behaved that way. They just pick the black guy, and then when the black guy loses, they make a bunch of excuses, and now they want us to behave like them, but we're not behaving like that. We're not creating excuses, and we don't, and we don't pick. Our predictions are not based on race or ethnicity or whatever.
Excellent point,
it's based, yeah. So now this is our opportunity to show the world that we're not the only ones fucking up. No, you are the only ones fucking up. So
it's interesting. But real quick, yeah, that's interesting what Bucho said, because it's true. Because when a fighter loses, okay, it's whatever. But Wilder, like he said, I've never seen anything like that. Erickson Lubin too. When he got beat up, what were we hearing? Oh, the gloves. They didn't take his gloves off, blah, blah, blah. And you're thinking, well, there you go. There's something there. And that's true. What Bucho said, they want us to act that way. And I also want to address something too. Somebody in the chat said that this is a boxing combat sport, so you're not going to get that many, high class people. I disagree with that. I think people actually, as a whole on this channel, especially in this community, the numbers state that we actually have a pretty high scale. We have people from all over. Because again, it's just boxing. We rarely get crazy people, but today, since it was a bigger fight than usual, that's where we're getting a lot of casuals coming in, a lot of people that don't usually watch the show. And look, listen, if they want to gloat, fine, that's great. But I suspect we're not going to see these people.
And some
again
people picked,
like
Jimmy said, some people picked Tank Davis to win the fight on this channel. So it's not like everybody picked Ryan Garcia. These guys are, I don't know, they're reaching, they're exaggerating. And even if we all would have picked Tank Davis to win the fight, they would have still showed up and here. Oh, you got it wrong, because they don't listen to the show.
No,
well,
exactly.
Remember when we picked Devin Haney? We all picked Devin Haney to beat Kambosos, and we still had people showing up saying, "Oh yeah, like you said, you picked the wrong guy. The guy you got the wrong pick," which again didn't even listen to the show. Or they go, "You guys are mad." And again, it's like, what did you even listen to the show? It's like they're imposing their own racism onto us. And like you said, Bucho, it's because they want us to act the way the LDBC acts, so that things are on an even playing field. But sorry, we don't do that. So we don't.
After a few days, they'll go back.
The fact that you give these guys the opportunity to express their opinion separates us. The LDBC, not only don't they let you call in, they won't even allow you in their chat. And they go one step further, too. They go into, like, who they call the Coons channels, which is ridiculous, like Coach Malachi, and they actually scan his live chat, and if they recognize a name, they preemptively strike that guy out. They send it to everybody who has wrenches. Keep an eye out for this dude. He's an op. Whatever, I guess he means psyop or some bullshit. But that's because they're so guarded, they're so afraid to have their, bubble burst, because the whole panel can sit up there and say, as a matter of fact, Lomachenko ducked Haney, when it was a physical impossibility that we debunked beyond all credibility of anything. But yet they can't hear that. Because if they hear that, you know why? That says to whatever casual might be listening to them, wow, these guys got their lunch just handed to them. So for the last... every time I turn on here and you're saying that same repetitive thing that you've been lying, it takes the credibility away. Yes.
When you're done, just letting you know, because I want to
They're super
Well,
chats.
I was just gonna say you set everything's off. So everything in that world is set off on a narrative. And the problem is when you're a tribalistic person, you're only going through a certain narrative. It's held up. It can be blown apart with under the slightest scrutiny. That's why they cannot allow people like us to call their shows. I'm done.
Exactly.
Real quick, thank you, Jim. Yeah, because I wanted to let Jimmy know that I wanted to go next. I didn't want to interrupt him, but I wanted to keep going so he would know that I would go next. But I'll read the super chat. Shout out to Escalation Clause for his contribution to super chat. He says Joe Goosen is a coward for missing the post-fight press conference. I'm telling you, I think they probably got into a fight or something. Maybe Ryan Garcia blamed them or something afterwards, like the whole thing. And that's why there were a no-show.
Also, on Escalation Clause, he says Tank has a low IQ but high boxing IQ. I don't know how high the IQ
That's
is.
impossible.
No.
I'll tell you what, he has higher boxing IQ with P right now than Ryan Garcia. But again, I don't know if I think he's hit a ceiling, and I think that's going to show against the top guys in the division. But I want to say to what Jimmy was saying, Jimmy broke it down perfectly, man. Listen, at the end of the day, this is a freedom of speech channel. We'll always let you guys come in here, whether you want to gloat, whether we get it right, whether we get it wrong. The problem is some of these guys that we're seeing here today don't ever show up until today. So that's what it is. But again, don't take that as us saying, this don't show up. At the end of the day, this is an entertainment channel based around boxing. And we want, we offer people the same chance that we give ourselves to express our opinion. But like Jimmy said, you won't see that on other channels, especially LDBC channels. And the same people that call us racist, I've never seen them say a bad word about the LDBC or go over there and voice the same displeasure and call them racist. It's always the guys that don't look like them. Those are the racists.
An
The guys that
example
look
is
like them, they can say whatever they want.
PDA, you know how I sum this up? I refuse to listen to trash talk from people that went on for months about egg weights in somebody's gloves when their favorite fighter got whooped.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what.
And by the way,
boost my volume, people.
Boost
my volume, people.
What's his name? Boost because he's pretty low here on the Discord. So everybody here on the Discord and the panel, boost his volume so you can hear him. So we can hear him properly.
Yeah, I was about to say, like Rare Breed, for example, he calls in and he's like, maybe next time, like if we learned a lesson or something, next time you won't pick with your emotions. And it's like he's been around a long time on this channel. He knows we don't pick based on emotions. We're not the LDBC. Having said that, I doubt. Actually, I know that Rare Breed has never gone over to the LDBC channels and gave him that little speech about them picking their emotions. He's a hypocrite.
I think
he's a hypocrite.
Yeah, he's a total hypocrite. I've heard him say a lot of dumb shit. And, for what it's worth, Mr. Common Breed was, he was a molested child. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him.
Probably.
Like, the victim mentality is so deeply rooted. It's sickening. He does make good points because a broken clock is at least right twice a day. But the guy thinks he's a victim of everything, and it's so fucking sickening to listen to.
We're the aggressors.
Being his partner.
And he's been on the show, like Vucho said. He knows everything that's said on this channel. So the fact that he hears it and then he comes back and says the same thing over and again, and it's about getting one over on you. And it's sad because, I don't think he's a stupid person. I think he's indoctrinated. I think that's what it is.
No, Common Breed is totally indoctrinated. I mean, it's too much. It's just like I try to get on. Who's that guy? The idiot that always wears the sunglasses. Ego. So I was placating the guy in the chats. I was playing along with this stupid game, like, yeah, Canelo's trash and blah 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 blah. As soon as I said anything, like I just wanted to see what would happen in the chat if I said anything negative about Andre or one of his fighters. He blocked me. He even said it. He even said it. You're blocked.
Of course he did.
But he doesn't. They don't allow an open forum for discussion of any kind. It's all political. It's all ideology, and it's really fucked up.
It's all emotion.
Why are you guys commenting on boxing?
Because when everything you espouse can fall apart under the slightest scrutiny, you can't allow the scrutiny. So they avoid it like
listen, people those people they're the real haters. They call people haters, but they hate because again, when you hate a fighter because of one of his fans, supposed fans, told you on the internet, now you're siding with a woman beater, a guy that runs into pregnant women, a common criminal. You're siding with him to spite the people that hurt you. That's a hater right there. You're
It's a
shooting
hater,
yourself in
exactly.
the foot, rooting for that guy. You're rooting for a scumbag just to piss other people off. So I mean, there it is right there. That's how they're being exposed.
And just for the record, I am Latino, and I didn't have Ryan winning this fight. I mean, I have a fucking brain. I didn't think he was going to win this fight. I was really disappointed. I was the one that commented, why he gave up the reach and why he didn't make it a 1-2-1-1-2 fight. It would have been boring. Yeah, sure. He could have done the Klitschko thing and used his reach advantage. I don't know why the fuck he gave it up so fast.
Yep.
I know he got caught up in the moment, but if I was his trainer or if I was him, I would have made it a boring fight and just did, motherfucker, stay away from me. 1-2-1-1-2, shuffle, move, 1-1-2. I mean, he had all the advantage of the world there. And when I saw that 2 landing on Tank, I go, man, he's finding a home for that. Why doesn't he keep using it? He was finding a nice home for that too. He could have kept developing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
See, it's like yeah. Okay.
All right,
I was
hold
just
on.
gonna say again,
Super chat. Super chat. Before I forget, man, I gotta do it because then I'm gonna forget. The theological handyman, thank you for your contribution. He says Rare Breed just wants to call in and be contrary like a woman. He just wants attention by arguing with men.
Yeah, that's the other thing about that is, listen, again, when you fail to make interesting points and your breakdown is the eye test, you got that dog, skills pay the bills. Again, you're not trying to be you're not trying to add to the conversation. You're just trying to be a contrarian. And I've seen him on other shows. He gets schooled constantly, like here, and he goes back for more. So maybe I think this guy is right. The theological handyman. I've thought that for a while. He enjoys the negative attention, which again, why would you do that? Like, why would you put yourself out there and just like arguing with people? You hate people that much? Again, to me, that's a hater right there. But then again, they call other people haters, and it just throws you off for a loop because you're thinking, am I really dealing with this many lunatics on this show? But I mean, that's partially the fun of it, though. People enjoy seeing us interact with lunatics.
Handyman nails it though, man.
Radio type thing.
Bucho and BD, I give you guys a lot of credit for letting those dudes on. At first, I was a little surprised. I was like, why are these guys letting these fools on the show? Like the other guy, the Mirage guy, just like ludicrous arguments. But he makes good points sometimes. He does, and I can't take away from him, from either Common Breed or him. But you guys let him on the show, and it makes for an interesting show. I just think sometimes the Open Line Fridays get a little out of hand with everybody talking over each other.
Well, to Mr. BDA's point about like when he said, do they go there and check that? Do they go to those other channels and even bring up their biases or out-and-out bigotry? I mean, think about it. Bill Haney, the father of the current unified undisputed champion of the world, goes on to a podcast with a woman who at the end of Wilder was bullshit. I am pissed. I don't give a fuck. Remember she said something, CC the Great, mentioned about how she was furious. It ruined her day that a white man beat a black man.
Oh, yeah.
That's how she broke it down. That's how, now think about that. She's been on and she said a lot worse. She made jokes about some girl stabbing a cat. She stabbed a cat. Like she's a lunatic. She's done all kinds. She brags about, she has a whole channel dedicated to credit card fraud. That's a whole other story. But my point being, they go on there. Haney says, under one of the biggest, it's got 90,000 subscribers, says, I ain't losing to no white boy. You talk that shit, Dev. That's what he said.
No, but Jimmy, we are the racists. This channel is evil. Yep. We just pick we choose Hispanic fighters over black fighters, white fighters, whatever. This is a racist channel. But those other channels, they're fine.
Yeah, talk that shit, Dev.
Hey, listen, let's give a challenge to everybody out there, the people that are saying that we're the haters, blah, blah. Go out right now to a LDBC channel, screen record it, and send it to us. See how far you get over there with the freedom of speech. It doesn't exist over there. And that's what you see right now, even in the political sphere and so other forms of social spheres. they're trying to clamp down on freedom of speech, because when somebody cuts your freedom of speech because they don't like what you're saying and they can rebut it, they can reply to it. So that's why you don't see this on this channel. We allow everybody to talk. And again, like I keep saying, it's because it's for entertainment purposes. I mean, when people watch this type of drama, and again, we don't say it all the time. We spent 2 episodes breaking down the fight, and then one where we actually had people calling in and giving their predictions. So we try to give everybody a little bit of everything, a little bit of drama, a little bit of boxing. And
Jaden saying I can't. I'm blocked on all their channels. Exactly. This is a different channel. We don't block people just like that.
What some people fail to realize too, is not always either. Like, check it out. Not always the better skilled, the more talented fighter, whatever you want to call it, is always like the favorite to win. Sometimes style makes fights. One guy might have the wrong style for that guy, and if I think this style can beat that style because he's got maybe this one punch or something different that he can do to beat that guy, hey, that's what I think. And look, there's other professional fighters, like I believe Shane Mosley, Bones Adams, maybe Robert Garcia. Well, definitely, right? Mexican too. So I mean, you could make of it what you will. It's not just me or it's not just that guy. Hey, man, it's a fucking free country. Who gives a fuck?
You know who settled the styles argument? They settled it in martial arts, man. Because that question comes up so often about which style beats which style, right? And the way they answer it is like, look, it's not about just the style. It's about the person executing the style. How good they are.
Well, the most winningest style in MMA, the people with the most championships, the discipline is wrestling, collegiate wrestling, which blew my mind when I read that. I'm like, no wonder I find a lot of that shit boring.
Yeah, the early days of the UFC, the fighters that went the distance, or the fighters that were most recognized, were guys like Dan Severn and Hoist Gracie and Ken Shamrock, because they were all on the ground. They were boring as fuck, man. They were like 30-minute fights on the ground.
Yeah,
and they were boring. I'm glad they got better. You know, they filtered it out a little bit, but there was no weight. There were no weight divisions, and that
in the first 3 years. Yeah,
you see that sumo wrestler get kicked in the face.
Yeah, well, nowadays because there's no pros for collegiate wrestling. When their career's over, it's college and the Olympics. There's nowhere else to bring it. And when you are a college wrestler, it takes so much. That's a hard individual sport. So it's the natural progression. Like, you look at them, T.J. Dillashaw, all of them, all the top great guys are all ex-college fucking wrestlers.
Yeah.
He's right, though.
And sometimes it's just conditioning. The better conditioned fighter can beat the better fighter. And if you think about the weight drain,
that's true.
The weight drain. That means the other motherfucker's probably more conditioned than that guy. That's why he won.
Yeah.
All right, guys, it's been 3 hours. We gotta end the show at some point. It's getting too long. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Great show.
Thanks for having me.
Later.
Guys on YouTube, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Wait, do we have a fight this weekend? I have to check the schedule. I know that next Saturday, not this one, but the other one, we're gonna have the Canelo fight. It's gonna be big in Guadalajara, so it's gonna be a lot of people there. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the show, and I want to thank everybody who donated via the super chat. Always appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
In every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
Yeah, subscribe to the Second Renaissance. The link is in the chat. Second Renaissance. It's a live streaming show, but we don't talk about boxing. We talk about everything and everything. Politics, the paranormal, UFOs, conspiracy theories. It's only on Rumble because fucking YouTube, you know how they work, you know how they operate. They don't let us talk about this stuff. Joe is asking when. Fuck, I don't know, man. Not tonight. I guess not tonight.